Tonight's guest is NASA's Technology Hall of Fame inductee, Mark Lanoue.
Looking back on the life that you're leaving, let it rest in a hole in the ground. Stick around for the great revealing of the fire you've been dancing around. All we hear is the sound of retreating. No one cares where you're coming from. My ears are still ringing and bleeding. I guess we all knew from the start. These are the days my heart goes numb. Yeah, one of these days will be the one. Looking for answers. Oh, what a disaster. These are the days my heart goes numb. My heart goes numb. Breathing the fumes of the ashes, the spirits light up the night, looking down the
Now, we're live from the Untold Radio Network. It's Untold Radio AM with Monster Quest producer, host Doug Hychek, and co-host Jeff Perella Jr. Untold Radio AM is going live right now. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Yep, that's the ticket. Now here are your Untold Radio AM hosts, Doug Hychek and Jeff Perella Jr.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, sorry, that was my fault that we were late.
Yes, it was.
It was a low-tech, very low-tech glitch, an analog clock that I keep thinking I got to throw it away. So I keep resetting it. It was like at least 10 minutes,
Yeah, you might want to get a new clock.
I love the clock. I hate that.
I get it.
Hate that throwing all the old technology.
Oh, I get it.
Beautiful clock, and I don't want to throw it away. Anyhow, welcome
everyone.
everybody, and hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I did. Did you, Jeff? I bet you did.
Yeah, nice day.
Did you go over to Joe's?
No, I got together with some friends in town. I had to work Friday, so I didn't leave town. So got together with a bunch of friends on Thursday. It was fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Those are fun.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have to cook, it gets stressful.
I did not have to cook.
I watched Yvette's brother-in-law cook everything, just all along, like for like 40 people.
Yeah.
And just to watch him in the kitchen, just like focused. It was just like, do not talk to me. I am straight gravy. And then
I actually enjoyed doing
I got to whoop them potatoes and blah, 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 blah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I actually like cooking. It's good. But I didn't this year.
So what do we got? Okay, so tonight, episode 272, we have our guest, Mark Lanoue. He is a NASA Technology Hall of Fame inductee, author, musician, science researcher, and like way more.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to him.
And who knows where the conversation's going to go. So
it could go anywhere.
Yes, it could with Mark. So what else do we have? We've got other infotainment tonight. We've got clips, and I think we have time for trivia.
Sure. See how it goes.
I think. So everybody, grab a comforter, grab a cup of hot cocoa. I hear it's good for you now. I just heard that yesterday.
Sure.
It makes your brain stems, your brain cells regrow. Did you know that?
I didn't, but if it makes you happy, it's got to be pretty good, right?
Yeah. So anyhow, what else we have? I don't really think we've got a lot to talk about we can just get into it. We've got a lot to cover. Let's do our news.
Weird and fast news. Here we go.
It's time for weird and fast news. time for weird and fast news.
It is time for weird and fast news.
It definitely, it's 10 minutes late for weird and fast news.
It was time for weird and fast news.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was just a glitch. It's nothing. I'm sorry. Anyhow, first off, they have discovered a new bee, if you can imagine that. And this is kind of a creepy looking bee species.
Kind of creepy?
Showed up in Australia. Nice. It is called the devil-horned bee.
Of course, it's in Australia.
Yeah, scientists in Western Australia recently described a bizarre new species of bee, the devil-horned bee. This insect's scientific name is, so you get to pronounce all these. Go, Jeff.
Megachild Lucifer?
There you go.
Something like that, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Apparently it sports very strange horn-like protrusions off its head, and that give it its menacing, almost mythical appearance. The discovery is a vivid reminder of how little we know about the global pollinators.
And it's in Australia, so it probably gets up to like 8 to 10 inches long.
20-inch bee.
Yeah, it's a monster probably. Who knows?
All right. And then they have recorded, and we'll have to talk to Mark about this, they have recorded lightning on Mars. And I don't think it's the kind of lightning we have here on Earth, but it was the first ever on the red planet, apparently. According to recent reports, Perseverance rover, the Mars rover exploring Zero crater. Is that how you pronounce it? E0?
Jezero?
Jezero? I don't know.
It's how it's
the
spelled.
J silent. Has recorded evidence of mini lightning. And I take it mini lightning is from static, right?
Just I think so. All the dust in the air.
Yeah. Events on Mars, using its microphone, the rover detected faint crackles during dust storms. Tiny centimeter scaled electrical discharges caused by dust storm grains rubbing against each other in the wind. It says that's a big deal because it's the first time we've captured concrete signs of electrical activity caused by the Martian dust storms. So there you go. That was interesting.
It's weird and fast.
That was definitely weird and fast.
Pretty cool though.
And then another Mars story. They have beamed back photos of, apparently, it's the European Space Agency has released new images from the Mars Express probe showing distinct global. Whoa! Hey, I got to put a nickel in the jar. I didn't have my phone off either. Here's it been inflated to a quarter now. Hold on, I'm still doing it. There we go. I think that's it. Yeah, there we go. It says this Mars Express probe showed distinct glacial features on Mars' surface. New evidence that the red planet had ice ages in its past. Now, why didn't I hear that? I heard that in the 70s.
Yeah, we talked
I
about
just don't get this. It's just kind of like the same old news over and over and over again. I mean, it's interesting. So it certainly looks like some pretty rugged terrain. It looks like a corn maze.
Yeah.
It says that it shows long, shallow grooves, ridge terrain, and what looks like frozen debris. So there you go. It says this changes how we think about Mars instead of perpetually barren, dry wasteland. I never thought of it that way. Mars is
haven't we known there's been water there for kind of a long time?
We got to talk to Mark about it.
Yeah.
And then more fungi news. Fungi. A new wave of research and innovation is spotlighting fungi as not just a living organism, but raw materials for future, according to a November 2025 article. Projects recognized by the future is fungi. Is it fungi or fungi?
Fungi is plural.
Fungi awards. I didn't know they had fungi awards. Are using mushrooms and fungal networks to create everything from compost-friendly diapers. Can you imagine putting a fungi diaper on your kid? To biodegradable packaging to mushroom-based insulation. Now, I could see it, I guess. for that? Well, wouldn't it start growing again?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't
Kill
know.
every spore, man.
You'd have to, yeah.
I don't think fungi can be killed. I swear it can't be. You can be knocked back, but I'm not sure it can be killed.
I don't
It
know. It's
says-
interesting. Yeah, if you don't get every spore, you're in trouble.
Yeah, so fungi, it says, are being reimagined. I love that. Oh, yeah, I love that word, reimagined. As versatile, sustainable engineers with a wide array of industrial applications.
I like
Yes,
it.
I
Hopefully it
like
works.
it. I hope they can get rid of styrofoam because
Yeah,
I hate
absolutely. I
that
mean,
stuff.
it would be just biodegradable. That'd be great.
I definitely would rather have my food in some fungal, like little fast food tray than when once in a while you'll get something on a Friday night and you order it and it comes in styrofoam and you're like, yuck.
Yeah.
All right, next. Apparently, Earth's basement just got stranger. Apparently, 14 deep sea life forms nobody recognized until now. So more creatures just keep popping up, man. You can just flip through some of these things. The last one is like, oh, God, out of a horror movie. The very last one.
Yeah, it
you,
is.
You see it, right?
What the
It
hell
says
is that?
it's a parasitic thing that took over some kind of like a lobster or a crab. You see it there? It's kind of been engulfed in it.
That's disturbing.
As part of the same deep sea exploration that found 14 new species, scientists revealed some of the most bizarre and alien-looking creatures ever documented. Gelatinous mollusks, parasitic isopods that look more horror movie than animal, and predators operating in complete darkness. This underscores how alien Earth's deep ocean is.
There's some strange stuff down there.
Yeah, it says a place where life evolves under extremes of pressure, cold, and lightless void. So there you go. Apparently, it's maybe not the blue planet, but the alien planet.
God, that is weird.
And then another really interesting discovery, I thought it was super interesting, is a wolf was observed using a tool. If you can imagine that.
That's crazy.
All right, so the first evidence of tool use in wild wolves. Recently, researchers captured video of a wild gray wolf in British Columbia swimming out to receive a floating buoy attached to a submerged crab trap. Then hauled the trap ashore, reeling it in, breaking it open, and eating the bait inside. This behavior suggests that wolf recognized the trap's purpose and it manipulated it to get food. The first documented case of tool use in a wild canid. This turns our understanding of wolves and wild dogs on its head. They're not just instinct-driven scavengers, but potentially clever problem solvers, willing to use human gear for a meal.
That's
So there
crazy.
you go. So now part predator, part pirate.
That's cool as heck.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And one more, I think, well, we got a couple more weird and
Couple more,
fast.
yeah.
And now a little weird and fast tech and ecology. Scientists warn we are getting near talking to animals. Ooh, goody. What could go wrong here? It says we're getting ready to talk to animals, but are we ready? New analysis suggests that advances in AI data collection, sensors, and biosignal decoding are pushing humanity closer than ever to being able to interpret animals' thoughts, communicate meaningfully with the non-human species. Proponents argue that this could revolutionize wildlife conservation, animal welfare, farming. Could you imagine asking a cow questions?
Yeah.
How do you?
No.
Are you okay? You in the mood for me to milk you?
Jeez.
Oh my goodness! And our relationship with Earth's fauna. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's kind of weird.
Kind of weird.
It's just kind of weird. It says there are big ethical questions, including ecological and legal complications. Yeah, I would say. So if we actually start talking to animals, who speaks for them? Who interprets their wants, then how do we avoid anthropomorphism or exploitation? It says, for we might soon have a WhatsApp with squirrels. Can you imagine? You can WhatsApp your squirrels.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Just like AI. What could go wrong?
Yeah, squirrels will break any passwords for
Probably.
sure. Yeah. And then a new breakthrough in controlling light. Now, this is really interesting.
Really cool.
So I had never heard of a gyromorph.
No, bye.
Maybe Mark has. Researchers recently unveiled a novel material called gyromorph, a structure engineered to manipulate light far more effectively than any other material. Used in photonic chips so far, according to the scientists, gyromorphs can control the flow and reflection and the frequency of light with such precision that they could radically improve photonic computing, optical communications, and next-gen sensors. For all we know, Mark might have invented this. He's probably, shake your head, Mark, if you didn't invent this. He's like, no, hell no. It says what's wild is these photonic chips using gyromorphs might someday outperform traditional electronics, meaning faster computing. God, what could go wrong there? More efficient data transmission, and maybe even light-powered devices that avoid overheating and energy bottlenecks. So there you go.
Wow,
silicone chips may be so last century. Like that's all yesterday. Silicone chips.
That'd be something.
So apparently
that's a
little,
paradigm shift.
yeah, these crystals bend light like magicians. And the next one I'm just gonna skip. That's boring.
Okay.
I don't like it. And then we have our weird fact of the week.
Weird fact
That's
of the week.
Really weird too.
Really weird? But is it a fact?
It's a fact.
It's fact and it's weird? All right, here we go.
Both.
It's now time for Untold Radio Weird Fact of the Week. That is kind of weird.
Did you know Saturn rains diamonds, literally? Scientists studying the atmospheres of Saturn and Jupiter discovered something straight out of a cosmic jewelry store. Under the extreme pressure and heat deep inside these gas giants, carbon literally transforms into diamonds. It begins during violent lightning storms high up in the atmosphere. The lightning superheats methane, breaking it apart, freeing carbon atoms. And as the carbon falls, pressure increases and the soot compresses first into graphite like pencil lead, and then thousands of miles deeper into solid diamond hailstones. These diamonds can grow to enormous sizes, potentially weighing pounds, before melting again into liquid. Carbon, apparently near the quartz. What is wild is that this isn't a theory anymore. Apparently they've duplicated this in a lab. So that's plenty. So apparently they turn into diamonds for just a little while and they go back to liquid again.
That's crazy.
So you're gonna have to get in there with a net. I could just
Diamond
picture
net.
you, with like a landing net for fishing.
I think there's easier ways to
1
get
pound
diamonds.
diamonds. Yeah, well, it's kind of cool.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, some planets rain water, some rain fire, and Saturn rains bling. Right?
I guess so. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's a weird fact.
That is a very weird fact. We got 15 minutes, so we got to bring Mark on.
All right.
Let's do our clips of the
Facebook
week. Clip
clips.
picks. Yeah.
You can do that.
And you get center screen.
I get to be the big star right now.
You are
for
the big
moment.
star. All right, clip one. The sound is good. And this is, I was talking to Mark about this. I don't know if he's looked into it. This is really weird. This is a new discovery called the code. They call it the discovery. And it's about this code. And when people take something, let's see here, I'm going to say it slow. I don't want to get in trouble. a D and a period and a M and a period and a T and a period.
That stuff.
Yeah, that stuff. And they do that. And apparently using, I'll let them explain it, but using a laser that's diffused, aimed at like a wall or anything, a code shows up that everybody who is in that same state of mind can see. And apparently it's like an object. So you can look on top, you see a three-dimensional object, right? And if you move the laser up, it reveals a different code. You go back to where it was. So it's like a flashlight shining on different codes. And apparently if you do it on your arm, a different code shows up. But it's apparently been repeated by journalists, right? And it's gotten very little traction with any legitimate scientists yet.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy. Go ahead and play the clip. I'll give you a little heads up.
If you bought like a DeWalt laser level at Home Depot, and then you put something in front of the laser to kind of diffuse it. So you take it from being a really thin laser line and then spread that sucker out so it's like 6 inches wide. And then you get somebody that's on right where the laser is, you can see through the wall. So this was viral on TikTok. So I called my assistant. I said, get this guy wherever he is, fly him to my house. I want to try this out. So we flew to a place where is not illegal. While you are in the DE state, you get close to the wall and you can see code that looks kind of like alien writing, and then some that look like kanji, Japanese characters. Sometimes hallucinations change and warp and modify a little bit. This is permanent. If you move your head, the code stays in the same place. And if you move the laser on the wall, different code reveals itself as the laser is moving. Then you get 2 or 3 people lined up and they all see the same thing. And if you put your arm in front of it, the code completely changes, but only right where your arm is. I have no explanation for what the hell it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is, isn't it? Who knows? But what he said, it isn't like moving. The code is locked in place. It's not moving. And that's the kind of interesting part of it. Unfortunately, I would imagine, never mind. I'm not going to talk. Just forget about forget anything I said. Okay. Clip 2.
Clip 2, moving on.
But if it's true, it could be, it could be a huge historic breakthrough, right?
Well, we're living in the Matrix.
It would offer evidence that we are living in some type of Matrix.
Absolutely.
I'm
kind of inclined to think that we are, to be honest.
Well, some of the greatest minds say we are for sure, and I've seen evidence in my own life. Okay, clip 2. Sound is good. This is about hypersonic. Hypersonic, like Mach 6 times the speed of sound of a drone. And so this will just tell you a little bit about it. Go ahead and play this.
It's not a plane. It's a lightning bolt tearing through the sky. Once it takes off, its Mach 6 speed outruns any radar response. By the time you hear the sonic boom, it's already hundreds of miles away. Its name is SR-72, America's Dark Star project, an unmanned stealth jet that breaks the sound barrier 6 times. It looks like the next evolution of the Blackbird, but twice as fast. This isn't CGI. It's a real project from Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, the place even more secret than Area 51. The engine is its soul. Turbojets for takeoff, then ramjets for hypersonic flight. One shared air inlet from runway to Mach 6. Seamless all the way. Its body feels built from the future. At Mach 5, the skin hits 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's made of carbon fiber, ceramics, and titanium. The whole jet is a metal beast that survives fire. It's not just a scout. It can launch hypersonic missiles and strike anywhere on Earth within 1 hour. The U.S. calls it global reach, zero warning. And some say, if you ever see the SR-72, it's only because it wants you to.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. And once again, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Yeah. So clip 3 are actually 2 clips, clip A and clip B. Sound is good, and basically what I want to get through here, some people are really up on this, some have no clue, depending if they watch mainstream news a lot. I know a lot of my friends don't anymore. But disclosure really is hitting mainstream news, not just about UFOs or being real, but about actual alien beings in captivity. So go ahead and play this.
Okay, this is clip A3A.
Rush.
You believe that we have encountered alien beings and that they've come to Earth and that we know about it as a U.S. government?
That seems to be the case. I don't like to characterize necessarily where they came from. They're definitely some kind of non-human sentience, but it is true, believe it or not, we've recovered the vehicles, and we actually have physical proof. And I was actually partially cleared into some of those activities. It was beyond oral testimony provided to me. I actually had partial access to the data and actually read the intelligence reports resulting from those programs.
Like
and
with your own eyes,
Correct.
you saw it.
Yes.
And so when people say this is kooky, this is out
Yeah.
there, there's nothing to back it up.
I don't speak for other parts of the government, but I can tell you NASA, which I speak for, is open and transparent with our data.
Do you believe what Mr. David Grush said, or is he lying?
Whatever he said, where's the evidence?
What do you say?
Certainly members of this current administration are very, very well aware of this reality. Certainly the current president is very knowledgeable on this subject, and I trust his leadership on it. And I think he's assembled an A-team cabinet, and I really believe if Trump wants to be the greatest president and the most consequential leader likely in world history, he certainly has the knowledge, the capabilities, and understanding of some of these sensitive government transparency issues.
I have access, but
All right. Do you want to?
Yeah, that's good. We don't have to get all that far. There's another clip I want to play.
Okay. Next one.
Clip B.
Former Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet served as the Navy's chief oceanographer and meteorologist and as acting administrator of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Why'd you take part in that? And of the voices in there, are you convinced that these are credible folks that are really coming forward for the first time?
All those folks are credible, Brett. They're all colleagues of mine. I've worked with them for years. This is going to change the arc of human history. The fact that we're not alone in the universe and that higher order non-human intelligences are visiting us and interacting with us, whose intent we really are unsure of still. That's just mind-blowing.
How many people know this?
This has been an 8-decade cover-up. The total list has to amount to 100 or more.
In 2015, Gallaudet was commanding personnel during a naval exercise off the East Coast when he received an email warning of near mid-air collisions. Attached was a video of the suspected threat. Gallaudet says the next day the email disappeared from his account. The Pentagon would eventually declassify the video more than 5 years later.
The Navy is sitting on a trove of UAP video data that they're not releasing.
Wow.
There you go.
That's something, man.
Like I say, that's the mainstream media, so I can only imagine.
Pretty wild.
All right, clip 5. No sound, please. John Ayers will love this one. This is a...
this is clip 4, actually.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. Clip 4. Sounds good on this one. This is just an escape out of winter for all of us. Just go ahead and play this. Beautiful. This is in the Philippines.
Wow. What a beautiful
Look at that.
place.
How would you like to be there? Have that beach all to yourself. Ooh.
I'd like to be there right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cold here. The next one, no sound, please. Okay. So this is an underground amusement park, 120 meters below ground. There's a Ferris wheel, ping pong tables, putt-putt golf, pool tables, massage chairs, even rowboats that you can take out into a lake. It's a big salt mine in Romania, and they've turned it into an amusement park. So let's watch this. It's crazy in there. So John Ayers ought to like this. So during World War II, it was used as a bomb shelter.
Wow. It's looping here now. Yeah, that's something else.
All right. It's good. So if you just happen to go to Romania, check it out.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Clip 6, the sound is okay. Look at the rocks. Eric will love this. Look at the rocks on the shore of Lake McDonald in Montana. polished by the waves.
Wow.
There you go. That's good. That's a short clip.
Beautiful place.
Yeah. Clip 7 is also an escape. Sound is good. This is.
Are you trying to torture us here in Minnesota?
Yeah, exactly. This is the Bonito MS River in Brazil, central Brazil. Blah, blah. There's many places like this all over the world, even in Florida, that have spring-fed rivers. If you have not seen a spring-fed river, go to one. They're amazing. I have. I used to hang out at the Wekiwachi River in Florida and Crystal River and Hermoso Springs. And it's unbelievable. Go ahead and play this. Beautiful, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right. Let's see here. Clip 8. The sound is good. And, I've joked about it a million times going, you can't improve certain things, like the coat hanger. Hadn't been improved in how many years?
Long time.
A long time. 100 years or more. This lady, I think, really did improve it. Go ahead and play this.
I want to hang clothes on the wall, but I don't like how far out it comes from the wall. So I just made this prototype. So you fold it and then you just hang it like that.
That's good, Jeff.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah, but it not only locks your clothes on, but it takes up way less room.
Yeah.
Because that's one problem with a normal modern hanger. Your clothes will slip off if you have a big neck
Right.
on the garment. Well,
I have that problem. I have a
like
big
anybody. Have you ever stretched out one of your sweaters by hanging it up wet?
Oh, yes.
It's not good.
Yeah, I learned that lesson the hard way.
This would prevent that. It's a very much it shows you can invent things and improve things that seem unimprovable.
Yeah.
She proved it. So congratulations on that. I hope you do well.
Yeah. Got one more.
Clip 9, last one. So the sound is good. This would be a really fun place to work. I know Mark would love to work here. I would too. Sounds good, Jeff.
There's no sound.
You notice there's a guy in that little car driving this whole.
Oh, yeah.
But wouldn't it be cool to build stuff like that?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. That is, it's a company called Creature Technology Company. So check them out. Maybe you can buy one. I'm sure you can buy one. I'm sure they're.
Yeah, let me check my wallet. I'm sure it's not more than $50.
Cheap.
Why not?
All right, enough of that crap.
Enough of that crap.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and bring, since Mark's here, let's bring him on. Let me read a little bit. I don't know if you want to. What do you call it? Do your what's it called?
The disclaimer.
Disclaim, Mark. Yeah, do you want to
disclaim? Let's disclaim. Let's disclaim, Mark.
Okay. All right.
Mark has been officially disclaimed.
I better come back so I don't leave you lonely.
Who wants to look at me? No.
Just look at Jeff. I do that just for fun.
Yeah.
Mark.
My mom probably likes. That's about it.
Oh yeah. Or she doesn't.
Let's hope she does. I hope she likes it. Mom, are you watching, Mom? I hope you like it.
Yeah, hey, Mom. Mark Allen Lanoue. He is the host of a brand new podcast that apparently it's going to premiere the second week of 2026, called The Gemini Mind. So the Gemini Mind podcast premieres second week of the year in 2026. Mark Allen, I'm just going to give you bullet points on this man. Mark Allen Lanoue, he's an award-winning musician, songwriter, author, podcaster, innovator, inductee to the NASA Space Technology Hall of Fame. He's a PhD candidate, a world traveler, voting member of the Recording Academy, inventor of hyperspectral technologies. And that really caught my eye because I used hyperspectral lighting when I built the Benthic Explorer back in the late 90s.
Oh, really?
So I could pierce the water in Lake Superior better to get rid of any,
Sure.
solubles, so I could see better, basically, which is
Right.
by hyperspectral, red, green, and blue lighting,
Mhm.
among some other types of lighting. And I also used hyperspectral lighting when I was filming underwater births for the Discovery Channel, and I won an award. It wasn't my idea. It was my idea to do births with it, but I tweaked lighting so it would pierce the blood, so it didn't look like a shark attack when babies were born underwater. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I won a I don't know, best tech director award that year or something. Whatever.
That's really cool.
All right. So anyhow, hyperspectral technology. So I can't wait to talk more about that. Founding member of the bands Kick, The Wicked, and Fiction Sick. Fiction Sick, yeah. SYXX. Six, yeah. Fiction Six. Let's see here. He's a co-founder of Kick the Wicked, lead vocalist, guitarist, songwriter. I mean, it's like whatever. He studied nanosensors at the University of Arkansas. Studied his MBA in International Business Management at the University of Southern Mississippi. Studied computer science at the University of Southern Mississippi. So this man's got a multitude of sides.
Yeah, no
so
kidding.
without further ado,
welcome, Mark.
It would be the first time I was disclaimed.
Yes, this would be very short. You've been disclaimed. Everything you say is disclaimed. Everything. So you're good. You're off the record. You've just been disclaimed in advance.
Yeah, I've been listening, about the fungus and the diapers. There's nothing fun. I was trying to think of a name. There's nothing fun about diapers at all. I've had plenty of experience in the past with that. So.
Fungus, I tell you, if you get fungus like in your house, you can't get rid of it. You can bleach it, blah, blah, blah. It always comes back.
I went through Hurricane Katrina. I know.
Yeah.
But then I think that's not as bad as the kind you get in your freaking toenails that you can never get rid of.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some people like down in Belize that I've done spelunking with that have got the worst. It's like, dude, fix that crap.
Yeah. What caught me too was the Saturn story with the diamonds. I could see them calling up now JTV to make a rover to go to Saturn so they could get the diamonds out.
Yeah.
Sell it on the network.
Apparently, they're only diamonds for a short time, and then they melt back to whatever carbon they were made out of. It is, we live in such a crazy, wonderful, amazing universe. And I think, are our brains even big enough to even fathom what goes on out in the universe, Mark?
Considering that our senses are a very minute piece of everything that's around us, and the fact that I think that as technology advances, we get dumber and dumber by the day, I doubt it seriously.
I don't know if you're like me, but I tend to simplify things only because it's the only way my brain can handle it. I take some professor would turn into a complex paragraph. I do it in 2 words, right?
Yep.
This is the way I am, and I don't know.
That's because you're an inventor that thinks outside the box. A lot of times, I call them the people in the box.
Yeah.
So even when I was at NASA, the physicists were in the box. If you went outside their rules and their theories and the laws of this and the laws of that, forget it. It was a closed cabinet and you weren't going anywhere. And I would just piss them off by saying, oh, yeah, is that like the rule where you couldn't have more than 2 moons around a moon? Didn't they break that? and they get mad and they run off. But you're right. It's best to look at things in its simplest form. If you look at it in its simplest form first, you have a lot better chance to be innovative with that because you don't have all those boundaries around you.
So you worked with NASA for how long?
About 9 years.
About 9 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were, a round peg in a square hole, or did you fit in over there?
No, so it was kind of a funny story. So like you mentioned, I was a musician and, I was touring back then. My hair was down to my waist, and I had the typical, the nose ring and all the stuff that went along, guy liner that went along with being a musician. And but then I was getting married, and the premise came in that a child would be coming along, after we were married, and so I was like, okay, now I have to do something else because music is not going to pay the bills. I didn't give it up, but. So I started going to college, like you mentioned, the computer science and biosciences and business. And so I was I took a temporary ad and I went and got a job at this place called Resource 21. And it was a Boeing company. And like you mentioned, it was using multispectral in aircraft to look at fields and give prescription maps for farmers and farming.
Explain just a little deeper.
Okay, so what that means is that we would have a map that was programmed out to say, here's your soil line, here's where the clouds are, this is what's the best time to pick your crops, this is what your soil moisture looks like, those kind of things.
Okay.
And we would fly, and then later on we created things called prescription maps where, and this is when I was already at NASA, where you would take a tractor that would drive itself with a little Palm Pilot. It would take in all the sensory data and it would say where you should spray and where you shouldn't. So it saved on spraying too much pesticide. And that
I got you.
So
I was working with a man. Now maybe this makes sense and maybe it doesn't. I was working with a man. I will not give his name, but we were working on things because that's what he did. He was a pilot and he was doing spectral mapping. Mm-hmm. And he was working on things like you could do a deer survey where you wouldn't see much of anything except the deer. They would just pop out like sore thumbs.
Right.
This is even, before thermal cameras probably were invented or could be used by like him. But we had a plan we were working on to basically find the exact frequency of like Bigfoot hair and then try to just, it sounds silly now, but try to just see if maybe there was a special frequency to their hair, like deer hair has a certain frequency. Mm. And you can tune the spectrum to just see deer hair. Is that true? It's
a lot deeper than that because when you're dealing with imaging too, so remote sensing is viewing from afar. That's basically what the definition is of remote sensing. But the problem with viewing from afar is that you have atmosphere. Right. And when you have atmosphere, that's going to change the whole dynamic. So something I image right here in front of me has a lot less atmosphere than something that's over there, and then especially something that's moving. So that changes the whole dynamic of what you're looking at. So the bottom line is you can kind of look at things because you have spatial and spectral information. Both of those have resolution, right? And you can look at certain things about a living or non-living item, and you might be able to deduce that that's what it is based on a specific library. But I don't think you're going to say, that's deer hair. I think it's going to be more like, these are the things that are put together that give me this probability that that's a deer versus a cow versus whatever. And they just call those a probability matrix, basically a library probability of this is this. And that's been around since like geology, where they were they're going by and looking at iron. They would see the red that would occur from the rust around the oxides that would occur around the iron. And then they would deduce that that's iron.
Is there a way though, Mark, to take like a deer hair and figure out the exact frequency that hair is?
Well, I used to image hair when we were so I was a member of the American Academy of Forensic Science, and I built a lab for the FBI in Quantico. And I was also, when I was at NASA, I was imaging human hair to kind of look to see if there was a way to kind of classify hair from a forensics evidence perspective. You can get some information out of it, like structure and stuff like that. And you can get some spectra off of it. But we really didn't get far enough to really say, oh, yep, that's that right there. So it still comes down to DNA, at this point. But as we go, the imaging, the nano imaging, like nanoscience is still very small in its infancy right now. So as we go further, things could change. We're working on stuff like dendrite materials and stuff like that, which is, kind of cool. So, but the short answer is not right now, but it's not out of the possibility.
So frequency science is growing, correct? I mean, you would think it would be.
It is actually the whole frequency component of it is actually, yes, moving fastly forward, because we're looking at, like, for instance, we didn't look at terahertz a whole lot because it was like the no man's land at one point, but we're looking a lot more at that. It's with everything. Man has so when you're talking about simplicity, man has a way of being cyclical. We're not only chaotic, but we're cyclical. So the same stuff we were looking at before, like I was looking at stuff in the 90s that I still see a lot of people looking at now. And I'm like, well, why are you still looking at that? You can't get anything out of that. I mean, it's like if you're looking at a plant, it's like it's green, so it's got a green bump and it's got a red shift. If it's not healthy, it starts to move. That's what it's going to do. It's not going to change. It's never going to change. Look at something else. So, there are people, though, that are moving it forward, but most of the people are still kind of stuck on the same things that they write about and that they work on. But you are right; it is moving forward. Yes.
How much money do you think is? I'm talking about the wasted part, wasted in science, doing things that will never help anybody or never really get an understanding based on just people awarding grants for the wrong reasons and whatever.
Well, that's
a lot wasted.
That's a political position. So, like in the old days, they had like earmarks, right? And then everybody was complaining about earmarks because someone was going to some big vat somewhere in DARPA to go pull a chunk of cash off some big giant mound of, funds they had somewhere. And they were all getting upset about that. But all they did is just change the name of it. Just move it somewhere else. It's still the same game. It's like, who do you know that can champion to get this, to get that? And then at the academic level, oh, are you one of our favorites? Well, you're not on the top of the list to make that. You could have the greatest thing to come out since anything, but you're not up here, so you're not going to get that.
You're not in the clique.
You're not in the clique. And trust me, this guy born on 6666 Gemini is not in the clique anywhere.
Well, you did pretty good. I mean, getting in there. I mean, you're a Hall of Famer on technology.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's still quite an accomplishment for somebody who's not in the clique.
Yeah, the reason why is for what you just brought up is that we saw that as a center. So we had what was called a dual use program, and NASA had a dual use program, meaning that anything that we spent government dollars on, we need to find some terrestrial use that was valuable to mankind. So it didn't have to be space hardened or any of that kind of stuff. It was more of a derivative of the things that we were working on. Like when I was going to put something as a manifest on the space station, because I was working on the Wharf window to put a hyperspectral camera up there to be able to get data, to send data down to kindergarten through 12th grade so they could know more about what was happening on the Earth based on the spectral and spatial response.
I see. Okay.
And so, we used that money and went and made derivative products for the Earth. And that's how the hyperspectrals came to be that I had in the markets. And then I went off and spun off through the NASA spinoff programs and became an entrepreneur. All that was driven by that dual use program. And so so I started in human exploration and development of space. Then when the administrations change, the cash flow changes and the names change, right? The programs change. It's just the way it works. And then we went to what was called NASA Commercial Space. That was the coolest program. And there were 7 centers around the United States. And one of them was where I was at Stennis Space Center. And I remember going to Japan, and JAXA loved the program so much that NASA ultimately got rid of it, and they kept it. So, which they should have never gotten rid of it. And then we went to what was called Moon to Mars, long-term space flight. And we did like Mars research and how we were going to get people to Mars and that kind of stuff. So, but the answer is yes, there's lots of money that's wasted. And
do you have a percentage? Just take a wild guess. What do you
think? I really could not even fathom what the amount is. I mean, I don't know the percentage, but it's a lot of money. Yeah, definitely.
If I was a bet man, I bet you it's over 60%.
Well, probably if you use what the government uses, is like, for instance, if they fund 9 things, they hope one thing hits, right? I mean, so that pretty much tells you that, that's the rat race, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have any further like scientific things you want to do or that you're working on secretly, or are you kind of like moving on from that? Or
No, I'm still working on stuff. As a matter of fact, I just built an optical table in my garage.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, a Thor's Lab 1/4-20 optical board, 3 foot by 4 foot comes in. They're going to slap it on top of the table. I'm actually working in different areas. So I'm still really intrigued by the paranormal. So I'm working on paranormal instrumentation, but I'm the one that wants to prove it. I don't want a bunch of ghost shop bells and whistles stuff where it just says, "Oh, look, I heard some random thing that came out from somewhere, and some guy with walkie-talkie in the corner over there wearing a Pokemon hat." I don't want that. I want to say that's definitively something. It may not say it's a ghost, but it's there's something there. So. But I'm working on that. I'm also working on sensors. I can't really say what those are because that's a non-disclosure thing, but sensors that will keep factories from blowing up and stuff like that. And so I'm really getting into the nano sensor now stuff where you're talking about, are we starting to look at more of the wave stuff? Like, what can we do with the RF? What can we do with all these other kind of things? What can we do with that combined with audio wave? How can we find out more things that way so that we can make small stuff that's cost effective, that we can even harden and send somewhere that has some duplexity to it?
God, I just remembered, and I still have it. It hasn't been deployed, but me and this guy were building a camera with a very special spectral lighting on it that could detect oil in the water visually, even small amounts of it.
From the absorption patterns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we never deployed it. He passed away before we got it done, but I have it. It's at the condo, Jeff. I'll have to show it to you someday.
Oh yeah, we can look at it.
You can use RF too, like in the sand. You can use RF as well, depending on the wave. There's a lot of things you could do to look for oil. Yeah.
Like we haven't had a big oil spill in a long time.
Yeah.
But you know how it just suddenly kind of goes out of the news and eventually it dissipates, whatever, bacteria, whatever. But we still wanted to have this rapid deployment where we could put it 10 miles away to see really how much oil and where it was going. And, we're not against the oil companies. We were just wanting to see what was really going on.
Yeah.
So anyhow.
But can you tell the difference between red tide and Pfisteria piscicida? That's the question.
By the way, is red tide just Pseudomonas syringae algae, or is it something else? Is it a form of Pseudomonas syringae?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that the red tide is often mistaken at times. Well, not often, but is occasionally mistaken for Pfisteria piscicida, which is actually an organism that causes the water to turn red.
I got you.
So knowing the difference between those would be pretty cool. But
that is cool.
I'm not sure about the exact species of what causes the red tide, though.
Yeah.
I do know that China has plenty of green because there's lots of pollution in the water. So
Yeah. Yeah, the ocean is so dynamic. It's
yeah.
well, let's shift gears a little bit. I want to
Sure.
talk a little bit more about NASA and
Sure.
just your opinions. I don't know, maybe you
Sure.
can't even talk about it. Are
Sure.
they being forthright with us on any level at all? All you got to say is yes or no.
I think for most stuff they're being forthright. I think for some of the stuff it's government. It's based on what the government will allow them to say or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there's some things that are like hush hush, and it's like you usually get. You're just going to get whatever they've been given in a fortune cookie to tell you. This is what I have to say to you. I know there's aliens in my closet, but they're really not there.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think the answer is that most of the stuff, and that, like, we deal with so many things like the flat Earth and look, we didn't really go to the moon and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So after a while, it's kind of like, are they always lying? It's like, no, it's just you have your mindset on what it is, and there's no change in that.
But you would think there's a hierarchy where the military does control their narrative because
Yes. Yeah.
you would think for national security reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I don't think NASA necessarily can be blamed for maybe not saying something about something because they've been told not to, because they're funded by, the government.
Yeah. And there's a lot of really awesome civil servants in NASA, and there's a lot of them there that really want to find out what's going on out there, and but they're held in check at the higher level by those specific things. Yeah.
You word that so much better than I do.
I had clearances, and I spent lots of time in the government, and then I spent lots of time as a CEO traveling all over the world. So after a while, and then I was in academia for 7 years. So,
do you have any clearances still, or no?
Not anymore. I used to. I was on the SciTech because we were reconstructing the Category 12 for export, especially of high sensitive sensors, because it was so held in check all the time. We had to find some way to kind of open that up for commerce. Yeah.
All right. Now I hadn't talked to you. I mean, we've had some pretty long conversations in the last few years. Mm-hmm. But today is different than it was a year ago or 2 years ago. Everything's different now.
Sure.
Where do you kind of stand on the whole UAP mystery, the alien mystery today versus, or have you just maintained?
Well,
your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, there's more stuff coming out. There's a lot more sightings and and witnesses. I've always kind of. Are we still there? I'm sorry. I've always kind of stuck with the fact that I think a little beyond that. I personally think, and it's my own theory, of course, I personally think that they're future us. I'm so into dimensionality and choices made within the circle construct of time, that when you make a choice, it changes. It's another dimension, another path, and all that kind of stuff. So, I kind of look at it that way. Plus, I'm also big on adaptation. There's pretty good evidence that if we were to put stuff on Mars, like I was working on a project with long-term spaceflight where we were trying to get people to Mars, but it would have to be underground to start with. And we would have to find ways to use minimal power, be able to grow plants, be able to sense their root systems and things like that. And even using old technology versus new technology, but even in the environment where you're building it, there will still be some change based on adaptation over generations. So, I believe that those are just adapted beings, and they're probably from our future. So
our future. So we're living in we're living in a non-linear world. I mean, it's just everything's non-linear.
I believe it's nonlinear. I mean, I believe it's dimensionality. Time in itself is just its bubble. I'm also a sensitive, so I believe in the veil too. So, yeah.
What do you mean by the veil, Mark?
Oh, just this spiritual connection to one side of the other. Yeah.
Can we separate that from science? I mean, do you think at some point anything spiritual is kind of going to go into the science arena?
I doubt it.
It'll always stay separated, always.
I think it's probably going to be separated. There's very few people like me that kind of dance on that, that small tightrope that sits between the two. So I stand strongly on my faith. Not everybody has to. That's their business and their choice. But I also am a scientist, so I look at everything that way, like is God in the 11th dimension, for example. So
why don't you go through and just kind of explain what you think all these dimensions are? Do you think we only have 11, or are you one of the people that are theorizing that we have unlimited dimensions?
I don't really know what to say about that, other than that I think that there's parallel paths also to time. Like if people make decisions that completely alter stuff, or they didn't make those decisions that would alter stuff, and they decide to make this other decision, well, what happens to that parallel set of if then else kind of stuff? And I believe that those branch off, because we do sit on circles across that timeline, right? And so I believe that stuff branches off from that. And that's just my personal belief. There's still a lot that has to be looked into that. I mean, there's a lot of those kind of theories that people still, that there are people that work on and look at.
Yeah. By the way, every question I ask you can be answered as though if you were a betting man, you would bet on this. 'Cause I know you're like me. You got a million theories. But one of them, if you had to bet, like place the money on one, it doesn't mean that you're not 100% sure. You're just a little more confident in one. That's kind of the way I think. And so every question I asked you to qualify is kind of, what do you think if you had to place money on it to try to not go broke?
I'm pretty confident that the aliens are future us.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident of that. Because they're still looking all over the place, and they're seeing all kinds of planets and stuff that look like people could live on there. And they're hearing a bunch of sounds that are coming that are being interpreted one way or another. But I mean, sound waves and all that kind of stuff, that stuff's bouncing all over the doggone place. I mean, you can have second order sounds. You can have all this stuff just coming from everywhere. And we have this small little piece of this with some sensors that give us a little bit more, but there's just so much more around it than that. And so digging through that noise is just like, there's a lot of work to be done. So
Flat Rockland asked you, how thin do you think the veil is?
I believe it depends on the person.
Okay.
That makes sense. That's where I say sensitives and mediums and psychics, they're all at different levels. And I'm not talking about the psychics that you go over to the old circus or whatever, and you put a quarter in there, or the people that you see on TikTok that go, I'm going to read your mind. I mean, I'm talking about the ones that actually have some kind of connectivity.
Yeah.
And I think that it becomes thinner in the presence of some of those people that come near it.
So when you say future us, do you mean literally people that have come back from the future directly ahead of us, or do you mean another dimension that's more?
So those are two parallel theories that I always think about. It's like if you make a choice, right, and that choice changes the direction of time, and then you have this other avenue, like the if then, whatever, and that goes off, and that different choice would have meant that your technology advanced faster. But then there was some destructive method that they had to survive, and then they ended up changing and adapting based on that change in the atmosphere, the environment, and everything else. And then they found a way to break through that barrier of dimensionality because they had higher technology. That's one theory, right? Yeah. And then the other is that it's just, hey, man, we screwed everything up. We're going to go back and figure out what the hell they were doing, and we're going to come back and see. Now, I think that either one of those could be possible, and that's just my own personal theory. Yeah.
What makes you think time is nonlinear? I mean, for me, I think it's nonlinear because I've had these events in my life that are so strong and ended up working out exactly as I remembered them. And I always talk about remembering the future. So I've had these moments in my life, not a million of them, but a few really major ones where I remember my future. I remember what I need to do, and then I just do it, and it works out just perfect.
Sure.
And some really weird things. But what is your argument that time is not just linear, as most of us know it?
Yeah, well, when I say that is that obviously, if you have offshoots and you have dimensions and all this other kind of stuff, and you have ways of moving forward, etc., then there's some disconnect, right? It's not quite linear in the fashion that we think about. It's kind of like I think we talked about it earlier. It's like mankind always trying to fix everything so it fits in this little box.
Yeah,
it's like the Earth rotates. Okay. It's tilted, okay. It's going around on an oval, not a circle, okay. And then it also even rotates at the axis up here as well. And so they have to fix time, right? They have to say our calendar's messed up. We haven't fixed it. We have to have all of these changes so that it all lines up for us, because that's the way we need to think about it.
Leap year, yeah.
It's cool, right? And I think that's the way it is with everything. Mankind tries to fix everything. They try to fix it and put it in a box. Exactly. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimmy. That's it. Yeah. So I think that's kind of part of it. There's so much to learn. There's still so much to gather and so much to put into these theories. Because that's all they are right now. Right now, is theories. It's like Einstein. Einstein had theories, but he wanted people to disprove stuff just so it could make it better. So it's the same. It's the same. I'm not saying I'm Einstein. I'm just saying that everybody has their theories, and it's going to take more data to.
Well, doesn't the fact that if you go the speed of light or whatever, and you approach the near speed of light, I mean, time slows down. Doesn't that almost prove time's not linear?
Well, that, and the speed of space expanding versus the actual speed of photonic light versus that, all of those things they don't really line up all the time, right? So so there's a lot of arguments that could be made that there's a non-linear aspect. It's kind of like sensors, right? Some sensors are considered to be linear, some are considered to be non-linear, and then you have to use correction methodologies to fix that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Have you ever experienced a time glitch, Mark? Anything ever? What I mean is, like, you see somebody walk through a door and whatever, and you turn around and then you go out the door and there's that same person coming towards the door. Something weird like that.
Yeah, I've seen those before. I've seen that before. Not many times, but it's happened once or twice in my life. And we're not talking about deja vu. That's a whole
different. Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole different.
Like something's up.
Something's up. Yeah, you can feel the difference. There's more of an empathetic kind of feel to the.
Is it possible, like, time being not linear, or just glitches, or just like bugs in a program, or a giddy up, or an overloaded circuit, or is that possible? What would cause time to glitch? Because maybe
God's the ultimate programmer, and it's just every now and then there's a glitch, and it has to be.
Is it possible? Maybe it's that certain people just get to witness that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's so. There's been some studies, not real deep studies, but about the brain. Obviously our brains can be different. There's different elements. There could even be like fractal differences that cause some people to actually have a higher sensitivity to certain things. And it's kind of like looking at a fractal antenna, right? Or just looking at antennas that take in specific kinds of energy. Not every antenna is going to take in the same energy. It also depends on how you dope it, like a metamaterial or nanomaterial, as to how it is affected by specific responses. So I think it's just like that. It's, our brains are so complex. It's probably that same kind of effect. Different antennas, different sensitivities. Yeah.
Would you want to tell us a story of your time glitch? If you want, you don't have to, but if you want to share, I'd be really interested.
Well, I've actually seen situations where I had somebody walk into a room, and then basically they hadn't walked into it, and then they walked in later. But that's kind of a simple one, but that's kind of something that's happened.
Well, they are simple. I mean, they're usually very simple. It's just like,
at least they didn't flip me off or anything. But,
no, but I think there's even a subreddit on there where it's just called, it's just about time glitches that people just talk about. Super interesting to read, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, there's actually, well, I mean, look at like the biggest ones, like was it the Philadelphia experiment and that kind of stuff. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest time glitches of all, right? So,
do you believe that happened, the Philadelphia experiment?
I do believe that happened. Yeah.
Do you think like Tesla was on? We're talking about, you know, Nikola Tesla. Was he on to some really amazing? I mean, beyond just
genius. Had everything taken from him and died penniless. And it was horrible because he was brilliant. Yeah.
But do you think he was far more advanced than even the regular folk know, because everything was taken from him? We don't know what it was. Has that stuff ever been released?
You know, I don't know, but that's a good point. I don't think so, though. But he was absolutely brilliant. He was, and probably the reason why it was released is because he was that far advanced, in my personal opinion.
Jeff has all of those papers in his basement. Just
I wish.
In your garage behind the Corvette.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're in the trunk of his Ford, just in case the government hasn't, wants to get them back.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff.
So you guys have been talking about all kinds of cool stuff, and I think that there's also you were talking about Mars, and you talk about all that kind of stuff before I even got on here. So you know, we have so much data on Mars. I mean, lots of data on Mars, but we have hardly any data on Venus. I mean, hardly anything.
Right.
And I find that so amazing.
Why?
I don't know. It's so uber focused on Mars. I mean, this.
Yeah, but I always thought, when I was a kid growing up, it was Venus that was Earth's twin.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the closest. That's right. Yeah.
So where did the narrative change? Why did the narrative change?
I don't know. You know, it's like you're talking about funding programs, right? The whole focus was we're going to get everybody to Mars because, one day when either bombs or the environment destroys this Earth, we're going to have to go over to Mars, So.
Why not? Okay. Well,
I mean, is there really that much to learn from Venus, though? I mean, that's kind of what I think is like, just what there's only so many things you can spend money on.
Sure.
What are you going to learn from Venus?
Look up Venus, Jeff.
Well, the Soviets have landed. I mean, the Soviets landed there. You know that, right?
Jeff.
I mean, the Soviets. What's that?
Jeff, use chat or Grok or whoever, and ask it about the environment on Venus.
Well, we know about the environment on Venus.
Just do it and read it, because I can't memorize everything. Just go ahead and read it.
The environment on Venus?
Yeah. Since we're talking about Venus. Because I do remember, I have all these memories of Venus, never Mars.
Yeah.
Like, nobody ever talked about Mars. And now that's all you hear about.
Well, men are from Mars, right?
Yeah. And women are from
Venus.
All right. So Venus has one of the most extreme and hostile environments in the solar system. Average surface temperature is 464 degrees Celsius, or 867 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead and zinc.
Okay.
It's actually hotter on the surface than on Mercury, even though Venus is nearly twice as far from the sun.
Yeah, because the environment. Yeah,
and that the atmosphere, it's got a thick atmosphere, so the surface atmospheric pressure is 90 times that of Earth. So it's the equivalent of being 900 meters underwater.
So our heads would explode instantly.
Yeah, it's incredibly dense.
It's not really about going and living on Venus. It's just that when we talk about environments and comparing environments and understanding gases and those environments, that's the kind of data I'm talking about. I'm not talking about going over there and putting a freaking vessel underneath the gases and crap.
I love it. Mixie has got her little witty comment. She goes, "Yeah, but it's dry heat on Venus."
Well, let me tell you about dry heat. I went to I built a lab for King Abdullah for Caxt in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. And I was training their women to use hyperspectral to look at diabetes issues, because that's a big problem in Saudi Arabia. Man, that place is freaking hot. But it's like it's dry heat. You know those old gas heaters in the gym that used to be on the ceiling back in the old days, really blowing out real hot air?
What, back in the old days in the 80s? When was this back?
Well,
back
70s, 80s time frame, but usually the 70s mainly.
Okay.
But they had these big gas heaters. If you brought that all the way to the floor, turned it on high, and stood in front of that thing, that's what it was like in Saudi Arabia at that time.
Well,
Anyway,
anyhow, thank you for clearing up the Venus. Obviously, we can't live there. It's too hot.
It's too. And so the focus is on that's why the long-term spaceflight stuff and everything is focused more on Mars, because there's more of a case to actually there. But having data is a whole totally different subject matter.
Now, you would think, though, that it would still be more practical to just build a planet, like build a small
Death Star.
Yeah, like a Death Star kind of thing, where you could, you could drive it where you needed to drive it.
We make dinosaurs that we drive, so.
Yeah, that's true. We do. I know about that. What do you got there, Jeff?
That's a picture from the Venera 13 lander. The Soviets sent a probe there in 82, and it didn't last very long. The thing just melted.
Imagine
in, minutes. But they did land on the surface. I got some pictures, but yeah, the whole thing melted pretty quick.
Talking about blowing government dollars. There you go.
Well, it was the Russians. The Soviets did that. So
yeah, one nice picture. How much did that picture cost?
Yeah, well, and we didn't care. We let them. We didn't.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah,
you know what I mean. So obviously it wasn't important to us because we're like, U.S. said, go for it. They didn't care.
Yeah. We don't need to send stuff over there to melt. That's for sure.
No. So I think again, my opinion is just that there's very limited scientific value.
Sure. From that picture, it looks like it.
Yeah, it's just an unpleasant place. There's just nothing you can do there.
Yeah.
It looked like the whole damn planet was made of bronze.
Yeah, it's just
gold.
Not a nice place.
No, not a contest either. Not a contest.
Not a contest.
Not a prize. It's probably what they said after they landed.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So just so the audience get to know, and I really don't know exactly what you've experienced and not. Tell us some Mark stories. Come on, Mark, loosen up. Tell us some weird stories.
Some weird stories. So
the scientist has experienced. I want to know what makes Mark so damn open-minded. Because you are an academic.
Well, I grew up. Most people would. Well, not most people, but they're actually becoming more open to it these days. But I was always sensitive as a child. I'm talking sensitive, like paranormal sensitive, and both while seeing things, actually hearing from them sometimes, and also shadows and things like that, and wicked dreams. So, a lot of that stuff opened me up. And even though I grew up in the church and I still have a strong faith, seeing all that kind of stuff and having all that sensitivity kind of gives you a more open-minded space as to what's going on.
Right.
And then that traversed into everything else I did. I'm on the spectrum. Even though I work with the spectrum, I happen to also be on the spectrum. So that also opens up quite a bit as well, and makes me more of a free thinker. So I like to think about things, and then, like you said, I think about them first in their simplicity, and then I try to break it down from there. So that's kind of how I kind of opened up to a lot of different things, whether it be the paranormal, whether it be the veil, whether it be dimensionality. And then all the science stuff is kind of funny. I guess it's always been sitting there. I was a musician, touring for a good period of time, recorded with lots of rock stars and put out albums and played in huge studios and stuff. And then one day I just said, you know what, I'm going to go get this job, and just found out that when I started working at that Boeing job that I just had really clicked with science and technology. And so that's what really brought me more into the innovative space from there. So.
By the way, I don't mean to. You don't even have to answer this.
Sure.
But somebody brought a question. We were on another show. A lot of people that are in our chat were on that show, and we took a survey of how many people were O negative blood.
Right.
And it was like O negative, O negative, O negative, O negative, O negative. It's like everybody.
It was extraordinary.
In the audience was O negative. And,
right.
What do you want to say anything about that? Or do you want to give away your blood type on?
My blood type is not O. It's I don't remember. It's either A or B. I don't remember which one.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So I really don't know what makes us one person more sensitive to those things than other than I think it's something that's related to our brain and to to us personally and also our openness, right? So more of a conduit for those kind of things. And I would agree that, trauma, I was just reading this here, and emotional events do increase that a bit. I had plenty. You guys, if you want, you can read my book, Reality Was Once the Tapestry of the Dreamer. There's lots of trauma and stuff like that. So that could possibly be part of the prescription for that. But anyway, that's it. As far as blood type, I can tell you that, you can use imaging at 540, 570, you get absorption of blood oxygen, the hemoglobin, and 769 for the deoxy, and you can do a ratio and get you a nice oxygen saturation map.
Okay, so you avoided my question. Do you want to share anything that scared you or that you've seen that really freaked you out?
Oh yeah. So the one thing that really freaked me out. So I went to a parochial school in New Jersey. And at the time I was 11. My father was just murdered the year before. He was an affiliate for the Colombo crime family when I was living in New Jersey. And that was around 1977. And I was walking down the hallway. And you know that feeling where you feel like somebody's like looking at you, like from the corner on the side?
Yep.
So I looked up, and standing, of all things, it wasn't in the church, it was in the school area. Those old schools had you go up the steps and you had a plateau and you go up another set of steps to go to the second floor. And standing there on that plateau was this robed, bright white being standing there. Obviously, from the feet up to the shoulders was an angel, had wings the whole 9 yards. But then I looked at the face, and it was evil incarnate, looked like it wanted to eat my freaking face off. And I felt really, really sick, and it was very malevolent. And it felt like it was there for 10 minutes, but it was probably there for just seconds. But that was probably the craziest thing that ever happened to me.
Say, Mark, could you aim it? You know that beautiful mic you have?
Yeah. Right here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you want to just aim it at you? There you go.
There you go. Did you hear any of that then?
Yeah. We did. It's just so much better when you're close to the condenser mic.
But that's the craziest thing that happened to me.
That is. Okay. So you know damn well what you saw.
Oh, I know damn well. I felt it too. I'm an empath as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Okay. So you know what's weird about these experiences? They don't happen again. It's like a one-time, one and done. Why? What the hell? You would think it would repeat, like, okay, now I want to start seeing these things every week or every month or every year, and you never do.
I saw them a lot as a child.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but the thing is that you learn when you deal with that enough, you learn to shut it out because it becomes too overwhelming. It's kind of like having too many signals coming in at one time. And so you just learn to put walls up. So that's kind of and they creep in every now and then. It's rare, but it happens. It usually happens when your emotional stability falls. Like my wife passed away in April this year, and of course well, thank you. That totally ruined me for a while. So of course my guards were down, and so weird stuff was happening. But and it wasn't like we were just together a small period of time. We were together 41 years. I met her when she was 16 and we were married for like 31.
Wow.
Oh no, thank you. But that's kind of, when you're in that space, you kind of lose your guards a little bit. So yeah, it was shimmery. Absolutely, yes. It was very shimmery. Somebody was asking a question: was it shimmery? And what's interesting is that most people think about demons. They think about red horned, kind of like your bee you had on there earlier. The horn stuff.
Yeah.
And really, quite frankly, they're fallen angels, right? So they still have the the ability to have the light and be shimmery and look like that. So it was just, the face was like, you piece of crap, I want to eat your face right off, so it wasn't exactly the kind of angel I wanted to hang around with. So.
Well, would you describe the face of what you saw a little more in detail? Did it have like alien type?
No. It
human?
was, so if you have you ever seen like the artwork of like the demons in India and stuff, where they have those really funky, evil looking faces?
No, not really.
Yeah, it kind of looked like that, but it was definitely, though, human-esque. It wasn't alien, as far as like the big eyes and the gray and that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it looked meaner than it looked really mean.
Oh yeah, it looked like it did not like being around me and wanted to do something to me. Yeah,
Did it move? Did it just stare at you? Did it?
It stared at me like it wanted to light me on fire. Yeah.
So there were two things that I saw kind of similar to what you're saying. Is in the 70s, I woke up abruptly one night and there was a hooded figure standing at the foot of my bed, just staring me down with evil looking.
Right.
Like, it did not look friendly. Right.
Right.
And when I burst up to turn the light on, it was gone.
Yeah.
And then another time here about 18 years ago, I was driving on a road about 3 a.m, and up ahead of me, let me put my camera on. Up ahead of me, I saw what I thought was a woman in a white robe walking her dog. Way up ahead of me, and I thought, well, it's okay. If your dog's got to pee, you're going to take it out. She put her robe on, and because it's really a white robe, I can see it up ahead. But she's leaning back, and the dog is pulling her. But as I got closer, I realized there was no dog. And the lean was just a lean. There was no leash, no lean. And as I got really close, I realized it wasn't a robe. It was just a white creature. And I tried to, like an idiot. It probably was an idiot. I drove right up to it. And it turned its body and looked in my window with the meanest look I could describe. Like evil, mean. And then it turned back around and walked into the forest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. I talk about chills.
Yeah.
And what else, what the hell was that about? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so sometimes it's just circumstance. Other times it's, just a signal to you, or maybe there's like a change in your life. Like, for example, my father was just murdered, and it was a really rough time. What better time to really start bashing on someone's faith, right? So, it's stuff like that. And sometimes it's just circumstance. You come up on an area that has that kind of activity, and there's both good and evil that hover around, and that kind of, you just happen to be in the right place at the right time to see that, right? So,
do you need to go give your dog love, Mark?
Yeah, I think so. He must know that he must need a bone or something.
Yeah, go put your camera on. Just turn your camera off temporarily. Put your mic off. Go take care of your dog and come back when he's happy. Or bring him in to join you.
I'll be right back.
All right.
No problem.
Anyhow,
I actually found a cover of his book here too. We can.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, let's check that out. That's interesting.
So reality, you can turn Mark's camera off temporarily, can you? Or put him on in the back room. There you go. All right, let's see here. Reality was once the tapestry of the dreamer. Okay, that's a title. Very interesting. I wonder what that book's about. I'm not quite sure.
It's the one he mentioned. He actually had a copy of it sitting behind him too. So
No, I know he mentioned it. I just wonder what it's really about.
I bet we can find out when he comes back.
Yeah, we'll have to get into it a little bit more. Somebody wrote, "Where's Mark? He's taking care of dog." I said, "You have an unhappy dog. Go take care of him.
Yeah,
Give
his
him
dog
some
was
love.
acting
Give him
up.
a bone. Give him some food. Give him something." He's obviously, this dog is having separation anxiety. We don't want that. I don't like to hear it. It's like, you can just tell, like, just go give him a hug.
Yeah, the dog was freaking out.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the comments.
So am I, Prince. See if we may got a good question here.
But I'll tell you, Jeff, have you ever seen another like humanoid type thing doing that to you? It is very unsettling.
I feel like I used to be a lot more sensitive to stuff like that, and then something happened that just shut it off. I don't know what happened. I can't really place how long ago it was, but I don't know. It's like all of a sudden my imagination just kind of dialed back a bit, if that makes sense.
But you don't need imagination when you see something. Trust me.
No, I think it's hard.
I'm just driving home, trying to get home. That's all I'm doing. I'm not thinking about anything remotely like. And then you just, like I said, I thought it was a woman. It looks like Mark's here again. I thought it was a woman walking her dog. I mean, how benign is that, right? And then you realize it's not a woman walking her dog. It's something else. And as you get closer and closer, this whole experience unfolds before you, but it had nothing to do with your state of mind or anything.
Sometimes children though are more open to it. So, and when they get to a certain age, it shuts off.
That's what I was just talking about. It's something in me just kind of shut off.
It's kind of like that bell. It's like that bell on that. Was it Polar Express, right? The ones that can hear it believe in Santa Claus, and then when it stops ringing, you no longer believe. Yeah,
that's a good analogy. All right, what the hell is your book about? It's weird. I'm just saying that right out. Mark's book looks really weird.
So that's the alternate me. So my second album by Fiction 6, the inside of the album has 4 pictures of the band members, which all have their alternate me. So, one side is the rocker, which you see on the one side, and the other side is the more, with the tie, the scientist that's out, the executive out there doing the other stuff during the day. So that's what that whole thing is about. Yeah. And the reality was once a tapestry of the dreamer is my philosophy from long ago. It's that I was always a dreamer, but you have to do something with that dream in order to bring it to a reality so that it affects other people, it affects you, and it does good things. Because if you just dream about it, it'll never come to reality. So, and that's all part of that tapestry. But
yeah, you have to take that first step.
Yeah, and the book is just about my life. People were kept telling me, you need to write a book about your crazy life. Because I mean, my father was in the mafia. I was the first born in the United States to a family that was run out of Indonesia, the Dutch East Indies, that went to Holland, and then from Holland to the United States through Ellis Island, and then I was a rock star, and I was in NASA, and I was all this stuff along the way, paranormal and all this stuff. So somebody said, you need to write a book. So I wrote a book.
Okay.
281 pages. It's got all kinds of stories, cool stories about hanging out with Motorhead and playing with rock stars, being on an album with Richie Sambora. It's just a bunch of different stuff. Yeah. So.
Very cool. Are you still how often do you participate in playing with a band?
Yeah, right now we still record, but I'm supposed to do next year. We put in bids to play in India, Malaysia, the UK, and maybe Europe. None of those have been signed off yet. One of them was delayed. We were supposed to play in India in December, but I'm still recording. I just did an album with a Malaysian artist. I'm recording my solo album. I wrote a song for my wife the day after she was born, and the guitar player Bumblefoot from Guns N' Roses and Sons of Apollo plays the guitar solo. and my friend, 2-time Grammy winner Kit from Wakely plays keys. And so, I've got a bunch of people that are playing on my solo album. They're all rock star friends, from Lillian Axe and all these different bands. So,
cool. What genre is your band?
Well, I play rock mainly, but I'm writing a pop song right now with another pop artist, and I write heavy metal, I write rock, I do all kinds of different stuff, classic AOR stuff, and I do tributes. There's on YouTube you can look up Wicked Tributes. We did like 50 tributes during the pandemic. That's everything from the Bee Gees to Megadeth. We did everything.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check that out. We'll have to. We and you really haven't talked too much about music.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bigfoot, something that people see a lot of. Like it's mind blowing, Mark. It really is.
Yeah.
How many hunters and just people, campers, hunters, blah blah blah. Is this something different? Are we dealing with something too that's maybe in that paranormal realm, spiritual realm, or is it just a damn flesh and blood creature?
Yeah, that's a good question, because there's a lot of stuff that happens around it that people have witnessed that would be more like paranormal.
Absolutely.
Others have witnessed stuff that would be more like scientific, like what waveforms. Others have heard, of course, tree knocking, like this more primitive kind of stuff. And so it's hard to say, but there's been some pictures, most of them are grainy. There's been a couple that were a little better than others. So I'm not a non-believer. I'd like to see one, but there's definitely a lot of sightings of Bigfoot by a lot of people, a lot of witnesses all over the world.
Yeah, people have no idea. If the average person really knew how many sightings have taken place by very credible people, double witnesses, blah 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 blah. And we're not talking about a shadow in the woods. I'm talking about out in the open.
I'm talking about a big old, hey, what the hell is this?
Exactly.
Right in front of you.
What is that walking?
Yeah.
So you think so you're just completely open-minded about, like, it could be anything.
Well, you have to be open-minded with that many witness accounts. I mean, you could say it's anything. People want to make it something, and so that they feel better about themselves and feel better about how smart and wonderful they are. You have to be open about it, because we don't have the answer. There's lots of witnesses out there. A lot of stuff has been seen. The same kind of things are said from each witness that are very similar to other accounts. So you kind of have to look at it and say, keep on looking, because we need to know more about it.
Yeah.
So, like even hyperspectral has been used for example. A funny story is my wife was watching the Discovery Channel. I think it was Discovery Channel. They were watching Expedition Bigfoot.
Yep.
And she goes, Mark, she put it on pause. She goes, that's your image. I looked up there and they were using my processed image from an arm with the lymphatic and vein system that was processed with principal component analysis and classification. They were using it on their show. And I was like, oh, holy crap, it's mine.
What were they using it for?
They were just to explain hyperspectral. It's an image that's out there in the public domain. People can see it. If they just type in Allen Lanoue or Mark Lanoue hyperspectral, it pops up. It's one that I made in the 90s with some of my colleagues. And they used it and they put it on the show, and I didn't know anything about it, but my wife saw it on the Expedition Bigfoot.
Okay, how can this technology, how could it be used in the woods? Do you have any thoughts on that? What could we build if we were smart enough?
Yeah, so you have to look at the waves as to what you're looking at. It's kind of like when people are looking for, like when the police used to try to find marijuana, for example. But what they would do is they would grow it underneath the canopy, because your traditional wavelengths are not going to see through the canopy. So you have to kind of look and see what is it you're trying to look for, what are you trying to detect, and then make a system that will work in the environment. Because it's not using just visible near infrared hyperspectral in the woods is not going to be extremely useful unless you're in an open area, or you're trying to find out something about the vegetation in the area or stuff that's around it that may be affected by something being in that area. but you really have to kind of pinpoint what it is you're looking for, and then what kind of wavelength you're going to use to get to that spot. I don't know if that answers it, but you have to really kind of key in on how you want to use it.
Can you put that in third grade terms?
Well, the grass is green because at 555 nanometers, it's at its peak when it's healthy. Because most of the green is reflected from the plant because the Krebs cycle only uses the red, the blue, and some of the green.
But how can we use this technology? Is there something that could be built like combines photography and LiDAR?
Yeah, sure. All of those. That's exactly what I was saying. So if you want structure, LiDAR is great, right? If you want to know if there's a blood response, sure, visible in the infrared's great because you can use 540, 570, and 769. Have an algorithm that says, hey, there's something there. It's bio. There's blood. Blah blah blah. Yeah, so you can kind of stitch all those together to kind of come up with some particular methodology or modality that gives you an answer that you're looking for. So yes, all of that technology is useful. You just have to be able to build it in a way that's a derivative that works for a specific purpose that you're trying to use it for.
Yeah. Are there any, this is kind of a Johnny question. Are there any cameras that are recording or filming or capturing all of the frequencies at once?
Well,
the IR, the visible spectrums, the hyperspectral, the blah 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 blah. Is there any?
It's very complicated because a lot of those use specific substrates. So if you're just looking at the shortwave infrared between like 900 and 1700, you use InGas, Indian gallium sulfide. Other times you might use mercury telluride if you want to look at the middle wave infrared. You're going to use most likely silicon when it comes to the visible spectrum and stuff, because that's the kind of substrates people use. So, and you can put coatings on them and get down to the UV. They do make what's called a full spectrum camera, but that's not technically like separating it out into specific wavelengths where you can move through those wavelengths and try to figure out what it is you're looking for and calculate that. So, so the fact is, it's really hard to make an instrument that covers all of those ranges. You would need multiple cameras to do it from a scientific perspective. If you're just looking for ghosts, of course they use full spectrum cameras just because they want to see something move within some area of the spectrum. But it's not the same as splitting it up.
Do you think it's possible that like Neuralink at some point will? I've heard that it can give like the blind, if they get Neuralink, that they're working on giving them like supervision, like it'll cover UV and IR.
Yeah, that's where we're getting into filtration. That's a bit different, where you could also look at different types of nanomaterials that respond to different wavelengths. Like, for example, titanium dioxide is a photocatalyst, whereas zinc oxide responds better to UV. So there's lots of different things that we can look at that do those kind of things. So that's a whole different area in generation, which we're starting to get more into the filtration and nanoscience and filtering. And then there's the virtual perspective of stuff. Like, I believe we can probably come up with a really good construct for virtual polarization, because polarizing filters cut your signal like in half.
Okay.
But polarizers are important if you're wanting to look like for small vessels of rosacea in your nose, for example. With imaging, you're going to want to polarize it because your skin scatters so much you can't see them.
Right.
So, but if so things like that. So you are on something there. Is that's what the future is? It's moving into that.
Well, maybe it'll be one of those people that have Neuralink that end up solving some of these mysteries.
Sure. Yeah. How about a sensitive that has Neuralink?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't know. It's just, it's exciting in a lot of ways. You have to admit, we are living in really, really interesting times.
Well, especially us. I mean, we saw regular phones connected to the wall that became cell phones. We saw beepers come into reality. computer 1980, we saw the PC come in there, and we were no longer having to deal with Commodore 64s and then television.
Oh, I had one. Did you have a Commodore? Are you old enough?
I had a Commodore 64.
I did too.
I had one. I loved that thing.
Yeah.
I used that thing constantly.
Many people look at me in the gym and go, "Oh, yeah, what are you, 42?" It's like, no, I'll be 60 next June.
I wrote back when I was, oh my God, I was so young. I wrote I worked on it for like 2 years. I wrote something that was like a fake AI program. On my Commodore. I remember you would download it on like audio tape, your program.
Yeah. You saved it on audio tape. I was writing Dungeons and Dragons programs with the little dots on them and putting them on a cassette. Yeah.
Oh my God. But I wrote this thing called Chat. And you could have an hours long conversation with it. It would get to know you.
Yeah.
And
that's what happens when you stay in a room by yourself too long, man.
Oh my God. But I was like thinking this is like artificial intelligence before I'd ever even heard the word, but obviously it wasn't, but it was. It wasn't, but it was. Was it? I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe you're just moving. Maybe you're just in the Matrix, man.
I don't know. It's like, dang it. I worked on it, but I'm like, why did I do that? I don't know. I worked on it forever. I'm
sorry. Someone is still playing D&D. I have to ask them, do they have the original Gary Gygax hardcover books and the Ralpartha lead figures?
That's cool stuff. That takes us back. I know exactly what you're talking about. I play 5th edition. I like 5th edition a lot, but the original edition is pretty cool.
Greyhawk? Yeah, Greyhawk too, right?
Yeah. Mostly in I have played in Greyhawk, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I had to get geeky there for a moment, man.
We're nerding out.
Chat's going crazy. Okay, now Virax had a question that was similar to mine about, I don't know if I can find. I had it up, and then somebody took it down. Somebody called us nerds. I think Matt called us a nerd. Okay.
I am occasionally a nerd. I do fall out of my cool hat and then fall into the nerd category.
All right,
and I fall in this too. Is that the picture you were talking about?
That is it right there. So we had a project which was to image the arms to make it easier to put the needle into the arm in hospitals in the 90s. And so that
I swear to God, I swear to God, you back in the it was the late 90s. I was working with Allen on the exact same thing, and we were actually getting images like this for the same reason. And I don't think it never got released, but we were. It's some cool stuff, man. That is so cool.
And there's somebody here, I am Virax, asking about the hyperspectral and stuff.
Right.
I have some. So hyperspectral, when you're looking at the changes in the wavelength based on photon response, so which is what it's absorbing, what it's reflecting, what it's refracting, etc., and so forth, is different than if you're like dealing with disembodied voices like EVPs, which is more on the basis of sound energy, which they're both waveforms, but they are recorded in different ways. So, but I do have some cool theories on my website. We were talking about this earlier. So at markallenlanoue.com, I have a page called Random Theories, and there are some theories on there about EVP and aliens and all that kind of stuff that they can check out if they want to check that out.
Oh my goodness! I'm just reading all these crazy great comments people are making. Okay,
it's awesome. Yeah.
Well, we have a great audience.
Oh my God, where in the hell does one even go with you?
they rock, man.
Let's see. Let's talk about weasel tails.
Weasel tails?
I'm just I'm joking. Yeah. But
genetically modified or
modified weasel tails? Yes. I'm just wondering, when do you think? Okay, so when do you think we're going to see the next generation of cameras come out? Like right now, we have IR cameras, right? The green night vision-y kind of things that
Yeah.
They've kind of died out now. Thermal cameras are kind of taking over.
A lot of it was based on cost. Like we did have thermal hyperspectral where we would actually split, but it was $1 million for a freaking system to put in an aircraft and fly it and do whatever. And it's all based on the fact is, as you get into what we call exotica, as you move away from the cheaper stuff like silicon, which is everywhere, right? It's everywhere. And so when you start moving into the more fashionable substrates that work in those ranges, it becomes more and more expensive because the process becomes more and more expensive. The cameras, how they make them, become more expensive. The architecture becomes more expensive. So by the time you get to the end of that, it's very, very expensive. So, so the answer is what you were talking about earlier. We need to get to more of how do we deal with the filters, the nanomaterials, how do we make that stuff work in a way that gives us answers at a more cost-effective, in a more cost-effective way. Because even the thermal cameras, that's different than looking at a long wave system, because just because you're looking at thermal, you're just looking at whether something's hot or cold. You're not really deviating as to what that specific window of the spectrum means, right? Those are two totally different things. So when people talk about thermal, they get it sometimes confused with what's thermal and what's long wave infrared and short wave infrared, middle wave infrared. All those have different parts of the spectrum that you can slice up and know something more about. So,
all right. But back to my question, is there something maybe new on the horizon at some point coming?
I think that we're moving closer to it, but I don't know that it's going to be like immediate. I think it's going to be a little while because we're still in the infancy in the nanomaterial area compared to everything else. Okay. I mean, we even graphene, we're still bouncing around with different theories about, graphene, about, what is its efficiency in ambient air and creating energy.
What's graphene?
Oh, graphene.
That thin layer of carbon?
Yeah, very thin layer, and but we do make different types now where we have thicker, multiple layers of it. Some people just call it graphite when it's thick enough, but graphene at a one layer of graphene has a very efficient absorption perspective to it. Whereas when you get it thicker, it then has a different response. So you can change it to do different things. You can like coat sensors, for example, to make them a better sensor in some cases. You can also change the elements within that particular sensor so that it detects certain things that it wouldn't with other materials. So that's what's nice about the chemistry and the bio and the nanomaterial kind of structure of things, because now we can make stuff that's more geared toward detecting specific things.
Okay. Just like, I'm not sure. I think I understood.
Growing nanofibers off of something so that you get more areas of sensitivity and doping those and coating them with graphene, things like that are what people are working on to improve the efficacy of sensing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm just kind of down here.
That's okay. Yeah.
You're really amazing.
Yeah, graphene has got some weird properties. That's kind of a whole. That's a whole big.
And different people will say different.
Give an example of how thin it is, Mark. Graphene.
It's like I don't remember the exact measurement of it. My professor, who's really into it, would know the exact measurement, but it's really freaking.
I guess
I gotta look at it. I have to look at the fibers in a microscope. So.
Yeah, you can kind of make it yourself.
Yeah, it's one atom thick.
You can make
Scotch tape.
Yeah. So you can put the stuff together in a lab like that. You can get your graphene powder and create like reduced graphene and different types of coatings for graphene and stuff. Yeah.
What was the deal with Scotch tape? You could like get one layer of atoms of graphite or carbon. Is that correct? Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that. We don't use Scotch tape with our graphene.
I want to send you a roll.
We use the Scotch tape to hold some things down sometimes, but
from what I found here, so graphene is one atom. It's literally one atom thick.
Yes,
it's a big lattice. Like, it's like a chain link fence.
Well, that's what I meant when I said, can you explain how thick it is?
It's one atom thick, but
One
for actual
atom.
thickness, it's 0.345 nanometers.
That's what I was looking for, was the nanometers.
0.345 nanometers. And for comparison, a human hair is roughly 80 to 100,000 nanometers.
Thus, I use a microscope to look for it.
Yeah, so it's thin, it's small, but it can do some strange stuff. It's a very unusual material.
So you think people should be confident to continue to buy thermal cameras because we don't have anything coming like in the next 2-3 years? Like,
think about it. How long it took to really advance that too. Like the first FLIR cameras, for example, they brought them to NASA at Stennis in the 90s. So I saw the first generation of those things come there, and so you can see how far they've come since then. I mean, they were really crude then compared to what you have now. And that's the same case with all of this stuff. As these people start to work on it, there's some really smart people working on these things, and over time, there's going to be some cool stuff that comes out of that.
Yeah, I remember Micron. It was late '90s. Borrowed me one. I was attaching it to like hot air balloons and stuff. And finally I got around to asking the guy who borrowed it to me. I go, "What does this thing cost?" He's like, $100,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh crap!
Yeah. Well, the first hyperspectrals that I built, that I was selling around the world and building, and like going to places like Sweden and stuff, those were $150,000. I mean, and that was just for visible near infrared. And so now they're down to, those types of systems are down to more like 40-50K.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were expensive, especially when it's novel and it's new and it's, something that, everybody wants to get in their hands,
So what do you think about things like manifestation and things like that? Is that something that you're thought about? Put any eggs in that basket?
Are you talking about spiritual manifestation?
Thinking, positive thinking. Just the whole manifestation thing, kind of like. Well, let's just start with positive thinking. Do you think that really has a great effect on people?
I think positive thinking does have a great effect on people. That's what I was always intrigued by cultures, and there are some cultures that have a higher premise in that particular order as well. I traveled to Tibet because I was supposed to possibly image the sacred scrolls of the Dalai Lama's palace. I went to the Dalai Lama's palace, and I also talked to the people there. I've imaged the national treasures of China, the terracotta warrior collection, the walls behind the hidden palace where they were trying to remember or see what was originally on the wall, so we can image it so they can repaint it. I imaged the famous Gua Ying, the 1,007 hands in Dazhou, China, where I was up on the mountainside with the standing up on all of the the rafters and scaffolding to image them, to look at new pigments and stuff like that. So, but in a lot of those areas, they have that positive, think, especially like in Tibet and stuff, is that positivity. It's that yin yang, the positive aspect. So,
have you ever experienced like crazy coincidences? Like something that was like, what? That was like 1 in a billion that happened.
Most of my life.
Well, do you want to? I'm digging, Mark. I'm trying to dig into your stone brain. Is there something you want to share? A coincidence you can think of?
Oh man,
share that seemed a little out of place.
A coincidence, because the funny thing about coincidence is spiritual coincidence, technological coincidence.
It could be anything. I don't give a damn.
I'm trying to think if nothing really comes and bubbles to the surface that I would consider like coincidence.
Don't you have any of those in your book? coincidences that happened?
No, most of the stuff in my book has to do with just things that have happened. I don't see those much as coincidence. I like the term synchronicities. That's awesome. I actually did.
Have you had any great synchronicities? I'm rewording it. You're not getting out of this, Mark. You think you are, but you're not. I'm gonna hammer you, man.
It was just a coincidence that I am on the show with you, just because someone actually
yeah, you're right.
From your show, I'm on here by the coincidence that we talked today on the phone about you being on my podcast.
Yes. Yeah, it was weird because you bugged me about being on your podcast, and I'm like, by the way, while we were on the phone, somebody said they couldn't do it because they had to go into work, and I'm like, do you want to bail me out? Mark's like, yeah, I'll bail you out. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and you had me look up this thing. So let me tell you about the Matrix, right?
Oh yeah.
So
I want to talk about that.
Yeah, but first of all, they say that certain people watch the same movies over and over and over and over and over and over again. Well, I watched The Matrix, not the first one, not the other ones. The first Matrix. I've probably watched that thing about freaking 6,000 damn times.
Are you really serious?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Okay.
Great movie.
Well, it's a great movie, but people don't dig in and understand what's actually happening with the people that are writing.
There's a lot of subtleties.
Well, there's a lot of religious aspect to it. Neo, he's the savior of the world. He dies. He rises again. He saves them all. And the architect and then there's the devil, the fighting the other. So there's a lot of
free will is in there.
Yeah. So there's a lot of biblical Messiah kind of stuff that's happening in there. A lot of people don't catch that, but it's in there. So yeah.
Well,
too bad
don't just end it there. Keep going.
So I was always intrigued by the whole Matrix perspective. Of course, being in computer science, being a science weenie, and also being in the spiritual nature of things. I was always intrigued by the whole concept of the Matrix. People say, well, I think we're living in the Matrix. Well, God's like I believe in God. Not everybody does. But the fact of the matter is that he's the greatest programmer ever if we're living in the Matrix, right? So it's better to think about it like an ant farm. So,
yeah, keep going, Mark. Come on.
I'll keep going. So you want to talk about this so let's talk about this, what you were talking about earlier, which is this, because I was always like into the God code too, right? Like it's like the taking the Bible and looking at it in the other.
Did you have time to look at anything else?
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
And so because
All right.
it connects everything. It connects. So yes, when I was a teenager, I experimented with the kind of things that they were talking about. Right. So sometimes in a cow field, and sometimes it came on something called a blotter. But anyways, but the fact of the matter is that when I look at it from a science perspective, lasers, for example. So, and I'm going to connect this to a project that I've actually done in the past.
Okay.
Now, there's also, and also, so because one of the things they said was that they were seeing these patterns, right, in the laser. Now,
like a code, but
basically like a code, yeah,
a fixed code that didn't move.
Yes, so
like permanent there. Okay.
First, let's remove the psychedelics. Okay, let's just first move that. We'll move into moving that back in just a minute.
And you can call it that. Let's just call it that word.
Yeah. So if you run a laser, and so the laser is going to have scatter. It hits the atmosphere, you have scatter, depending on the type of atmosphere. We're talking about Mars, which has a totally different atmosphere than we have here. Then when it hits an actual target of something, then there's even another response that occurs and a secondary set of scatter that occurs on that particular target. Well, we also have something called pareidolia as well. And so when you see this stuff, you start to see patterns. And that's without the psychedelics, you start to see patterns, and you start to see patterns of either one, what you want to believe to see in the patterns, or what just comes to mind because those are associations that you have. It's kind of like reading words that you don't have them all in the right order, but you read them that way because you're just used to reading them that way. Now, so that's one part. And they tried to kind of knock that out of the park of it being pareidolia and all that kind of stuff. The other is that there are studies that are saying that people that they're seeing that people have almost, especially close friends or people that were married a long time or together a long time, that they almost have like this neural network kind of connectivity, almost the ability for their brains, that they're wired in a way that they can communicate with one another. You put yourself on psychedelics and that amplifies everything. I can tell you, I saw stuff on that in my teenage years on that stuff it's like I would swear it happened to me, right? So, and that came from the subconscious mind. Now, if you put a set of people in a room that are hell bent on seeing something, they're on psychedelics, their neural networks connected together, so they're all thinking the same damn thing. They're looking into this laser. They're seeing scatter. They see pareidolia in here. They're saying, oh, we're all seeing the same thing. And look, we're moving around because it's not moving. It's like, are you moving? Is it not moving? Is your brain not moving? Are you psychedelically thinking it's not moving? So I would have to see a lot more research.
But isn't it easy for them to test it? Because all they have to do is each privately draw what they're seeing.
Well, they can. Well, even then, there's
exact characters.
Even then, there's been studies where people have turned the card the other way and they draw something on the other person draws it.
But then that would prove telepathic abilities.
Well, that's what the whole thing is about, the neural connection and what happens to you. Can anybody prove yet exactly what happens to each individual on psychedelics? I mean, you know that you see stuff, you know that everybody always says that they felt like they were on a higher plane. So what actually is happening to you at that particular case? And what exactly are you opening? What exactly drops off of your psyche that you've carried around forever that's now gone because you're free and open? So I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm not saying that it's not something.
Well, they're pretty convinced. It's certainly, I think his name is Danny Goller.
Yeah.
He's pretty convinced these are objects. These are real objects that they're
and maybe they are. I mean, but the fact is, I know way too much about wave science and how unpredictable lasers can be. I mean, heck, they can't even get the crystals right to last long enough in some cases to do remote sensing scattering with those things.
No, I realize that. I think that's been the skeptics' biggest argument that haven't tried it. Saying what they're seeing is the laser scatter. And I'm the open person that says, I mean, it's an open book, and prove it to me. Show me more evidence. Do more research. I mean, and I'm sure they'll be happy to do more research because apparently they like also doing the psychedelics. So. Well, wouldn't this fall into your wheelhouse to conduct some research into this?
Not taking the psychedelics.
I don't mean you. I don't mean you. I mean,
I know.
Figuring out a blind study where you could have subjects.
Sure. And I reach out. I reach out to lots of people about different things. And
by the way, these psychedelics you're taking last like 5 minutes. It's not like a long.
It's not like the ones from. It's not like the ones in the teenage years. Were like
those are like
a sugar cube would throw you into a 2-day affair.
So I'm going to admit. So when I was 13, I experimented 2 times. With psychedelics twice. And I never went. It was never fun. I wouldn't say I had anything bad happen. But you'd want it over at some point. You're like, okay, I'm done with this now.
You're a different person now.
And it would, and it wouldn't go away. It would, you'd still see everything melting or God, whatever, towards the end. It wasn't that fun. But I do think it opened my mind up that there's a lot of weird things. So what would they need to do to prove this? Go ahead and maybe
Yeah, I
throw
think
out a crude
I think
experiment.
unfortunately, I think that the main thing that they would have to do to prove it is they would have to prove that, like the one guy said that, hey, if you put these things together, it actually makes the code work. It's sad to say they're going to have to prove the code works. That's that. I mean, because really think about all the skeptics, even if they were, even if they like, they could probably take a video and say, look, there it is. But can you give the video psychedelics? I mean, you have to show it's actually happening and not just in someone's head. And you also have to show that, you know, the other part of it, which he brought up as a theory, which is that these symbols create this complex network that then makes this reality become a reality, right? What makes reality. Well, unfortunately, in science, they're going to have to prove that theory and show that it makes some reality. And if they can't do that, the naysayers are always going to be there. That's why this is such a complex problem. So,
right. Yeah. But okay, let's just picture a camera guy filming people where there's a divider between people, and one person goes in and they say, okay, the first 3 symbols or first 4 symbols, and they draw them.
Like a scrying mirror, right?
Right. And then the next person comes in, they draw them, and nobody can see what the person's drawings are. And what if they all match? Wouldn't that raise the bar on this?
Yeah, no? Well, it could, but then again, there'll be the skeptics that say that, well, they were, connecting, with one another psychedelically.
But they don't believe in telepathic abilities either. So I'm not sure they'd go there.
Exactly. And that's what my point was. They're going to have to prove it's like the Holy Grail, right? People are constantly were trying to prove whether it was a chalice or it was Mary Magdalene or whatever.
Let's go ahead and play that clip, Jeff. Can you find that clip again? Let's play it just so people.
It's intriguing, but it's going to take a lot.
One more time. All right, hang on.
The one with the lasers and stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, play that one more time for people that just joined us.
Do you remember which one it was?
Oh, sure, I can.
Didn't he say he was just using a laser from Home Depot?
Yeah. 865 nanometer laser, and then he would diffuse it.
Yeah, it's just near infrared, and then he would diffuse it with. So he probably used like a stage smoke from the latest concert.
Yeah, it's clip 1, Jeff. Clip 1.
Clip 1. Okay,
yes,
hold on
sir.
1 second here.
Maybe they're just making a scrying mirror with a laser. I don't know.
But if you look up on YouTube after the show, you can look up the Discovery. There's quite a few interviews with the founder of this thing, and he's a Russian guy, but he's pretty brilliant. But go ahead.
I saw the one on Rogan too. Yeah.
I
did look into it, man. You told me to, and I did.
Yeah, those were obviously secondhand. You need to watch the actual guy talk. All right, go ahead and play this.
If you bought like a DeWalt laser level at Home Depot, and then you put something in front of the laser to kind of diffuse it. So you take it from being a really thin laser line and then spread that sucker out so it's like 6 inches wide. And then you get somebody that's on right where the laser is, you can see through the wall. So this was viral on TikTok. So I called my assistant. I said, get this guy wherever he is, fly him to my house. I want to try this out. So we flew to a place where he's not illegal. While you are in the state, you get close to the wall and you can see code that looks kind of like alien writing, and then some that look like kanji Japanese characters. Sometimes hallucinations change and warp and modify a little bit. This is permanent. If you move your head, the code stays in the same place. And if you move the laser on the wall, different code reveals itself as the laser is moving. Then you get 2 or 3 people lined up and they all see the same thing. And if you put your arm in front of it, the code completely changes, but only right where your arm is. I have no explanation for what the hell it is.
Yeah, actually, psychedelics will do that. If you're uber focused on something, you can move your head and it still stays in the same spot. But I'm more closely related to what you were talking about, which is how do you prove it from another perspective?
Yeah, and if it's true and it pans out and somebody actually does get a grant, I would love to see somebody get a grant to try to either debunk it or prove it, because
sure,
it'd be quite groundbreaking if that was the case.
It's like what I'm trying to do now with the paranormal equipment I'm working on. Is I'm trying to come up with ways that actually say no, what's in there is in there. You can't disprove it. You can't prove it's a ghost, but there's something there, and it's not outside interference, and you can't disprove that.
So basically, you want to film a ghost. Admit
Well,
it.
I want to know that. I want to know that if you have some, like, there's all these shows. It's like, there's like 15 people running around with walkie-talkies, and there's all kinds of RF waves going everywhere, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's going off." It's like, yeah. It's like, but and I'm a believer. I'm just saying that I want it to be where it's like no one can come in and say, no, that's not happening. They can say, yeah, it is. I don't know what it is, but it's there. Yeah.
Well, without giving away too many secrets, what are you hoping to accomplish in very, very layman terms?
Yeah, so I'm wanting to be able to measure what's outside of a specific parameter of an area, and then have another parameter of the area that does not have interference. Follow that into the area of non-interference, and then have multiple linear kind of detection and recording methodologies in there where there's no interference to pick up on what travels into the space. Because then you can prove something is in the room, something traveled toward it, and then there was something in a space that you cannot disprove because there's no outside interference. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of.
Well, then you can stand right next to it with a walkie-talkie, click on it, and if something's going off, it's not the walkie-talkie. And if you're looking at the temperature differential between the outside of that environment, the inside of the environment, and then you're watching what's coming toward it, you can measure that in extrapolation to the actual area that has no interference. And something came there, something came in, something's interacting, and you can't disprove it because it's not outside interference.
Have you been testing?
Right now, I've been building. I already know it'll work from a perspective of the science. I just want to see it actually have something go off.
Okay. So what are you going to do? Are you going to?
I'm going to test it. I am part of an investigation team called the Veil. Funny enough, it's two rock stars. It's me and the guitar player from Lillian Axe, which was a pretty big band for some period of time. And we also have a psychic, and we have an individual who's been in the paranormal world for like 25 years, Dave Young. And we have several others that are on the actual team as well that we'll probably go out and test it in several locations to make sure that it does what I want it to do.
Okay. Is this something that will be commercially maybe available in the future?
Yes. The idea is that I want to get tools in the hands of people so that they can actually say that what's going off in there is actually going off, and it's not some outside interference or because you really need linear correlation. You can have one thing go off over there, but if you got two or three things going off in an area that there's no interference,
right?
You got something going on, and you can't say it's a ghost, maybe because you're not like, hey, there it is, I'm looking at, but there's something there, and you got to figure out what the hell is going on, right?
And then you had I know you have a theory on EVPs.
Yes.
Is that something you can share?
Sure. So again, like we were talking about, the auditory range of a human being is very small. Our sensibility of everything around us is a very small, minute part of everything. And there's energy all around us. So there's something called second order, which is called doubleting. So in imaging, if you had 400 nanometers, you would get a small amount of energy that would come out at 800, which is called doubleting because you got 400 and 400 is 800, right? But it's a lower range than the original signal, so it gets closer to the noise level, right? So if it's at the noise, let's say you're picking something up in ultrasound, that doublets in our auditory range. If it's too low near the noise, you won't hear it with your ears, but amplified by a tape recorder or a digital device, you amplify the signal. And what does a signal that's amplified that still had some noise in it sound like? Hello. It's very, very kind of raspy, not as clear as what it would be if they were actually speaking in the auditory range. So I think EVPs are energy being dissipated out from the ultrasound, and we're hearing it on the tape devices and stuff as a doublet in the regular auditory range. That's my theory.
Okay. Jeff, did you get that?
I did. Yeah.
Good. I just don't know.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't. You know, to me, my brain's going, oh, I'm a little.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same as anything else
thick-headed.
when you're talking about when you were talking about thermal cameras, right? Or you're
Right.
talking that's emissivity. You're giving energy somewhere else at a shorter wavelength.
Okay, no, whoa,
And then
whoa.
you
You
create
just
thermal.
used the word here now. Are you talking about what I always thought was pronounced evacidity, or is that temperature?
It's the releasing of that energy as thermal property. So
Okay.
of course it's like a black body.
Like the
perfect-
difference
the
between A and
perfect
B.
the perfect absorber is the perfect emitter. So you have something black like your dashboard. It's damn hot in the summertime. The reason why it's sucking in all the energy and then it's releasing that energy as heat. And so that's what happens is that you have this energy at a shorter wavelength that's being absorbed, that's being then let out at a longer wavelength, which then we have thermal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Have
It's
you
all,
ever
it's all
have you-
energy, man. Fluorescence, everything. It's all
Yeah.
energy moving around the spectrum.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good explanation of that. I like that explanation.
I'm still, I'm still a little. I get it, but I don't. You know what I mean? I'm kind of dumb.
Yeah, we still can't get the lights right. You know, the sun's 6,000 Kelvin. The lights are typically 3,200. Color balance them 5,500. The LEDs you
I
can.
thought it was 5,400 Kelvin. There's at 6,000. I can't remember. It's 30. Yeah. Anyhow, so have you ever recorded an EVP, or do you just listen to other people's and go, wow?
No, we did an investigation at the it was in Fort Jackson in Louisiana. We actually put together a sizzle reel, and it was my buddy Todd Schmidt, really great at doing that stuff. Put a fantastic sizzle reel together. We were going to do like a documentary on that particular location, and there were some there that were picked up at that location as well. So
Okay, clear.
Yeah, they're pretty clear. Yeah.
All right, now Virag said I got some audience questions.
Sure.
Virag says, with modern digital recorders filtering and compressing frequencies, do you think we're actually missing certain types of paranormal audio that an older analog device could capture better?
That's actually a good question. The answer to that is yes. And there has been a lot of communication about it. Matter of fact, it was just on Dave Schrader's show the other night where they were talking about different types of recorders. And they prefer certain ones because they don't have all that filtration and all that kind of stuff. Because obviously, it's kind of like the music industry. You know, it's like people didn't have tuning until the 90s. Now everything's completely processed and stonewalled and tuned and everything else. So you really, you know, the person walks out on stage and you go, who the hell was that? Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
But good question. Though. That was a really good question.
Let's see here. I'm looking. Somebody asked. Maybe
That's
that
actually
was
just something that interested me. That's also why some people sound different on the phone than they do in person.
Yeah,
100% to do with how the signal is compressed.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
And then you guys were talking about all about this technology earlier, but damn, they still haven't done a damn thing about the speed of the internet. But go ahead. It's fast on either end. Yeah.
Yeah.
let's see here, Mark. Given your background,
Which one?
and the way you approach consciousness and perception, what do you think deja vu represents? Do you think it's a neurological glitch or a memory phenomenon?
That's a good
It's
question.
like I was telling you how I once in a while I remember the future. It seems like deja vu. I guess that's another word for it. But mine are like deja vu with details. So I get deja vu with like explicit details.
I think it's I think it's probably also individual as to what that means as well. Again, it's like I was saying, the way the brain is wired. Our brains are so complex, but then there's elements, there's different there's different ways that we can have different things inside of our brain that, like plaque, for instance, that causes people to become ill and have diseases, and others may have more of a specific element maybe that makes them more perceptive to those specific things and those sensitivities. So I think that means that there's probably more than one answer to that actual question. Yeah.
Do you do anything with EVPs, like try to analyze them for frequencies that might be hidden or anything weird? Or
yeah, we would call that sensitivity analysis, but a lot of them are so noisy. Most of the time they're so noisy, it's really hard to, just like somebody was saying about those recorders that compress and do everything, you can do a lot of different types of sweeping and cleaning and analyzing, but it really depends on how good that EVP is as to whether you can get something really quite viable.
So you're putting them in like a spectrograph.
Yeah. They're going because it's just like with a camera. The cameras, they have a certain noise level on the bottom, and then they have a quantum efficiency, and it also depends on the bit rate as to how high that particular response is as far as the bits, right? But if that signal gets too close to that floor of the noise, I mean, you can subtract noise from a sensor so that you get a more of a clearer signal on the stuff above, but anything that falls into that noise area, it's really hard to pull out of that.
Yeah. Have you ever looked at the Sierra sounds that Ron Moorhead and Al Berry recorded in the 70s, and how strange, because they like go, up and down, up and down, up and down. Have you ever listened to those sounds?
I seem to remember listening to them, but it's been a while. But yeah, if I remember correctly, they were pretty intriguing. Yeah, they're interesting.
They are. You should listen to those again, I guess, based on all of your because I'm sure it's even crossed Ron's mind that maybe those are EVPs of some sort.
And it could be. And again, when you're in an open area, depending on where you are, there's so many different things. I mean,
well, these are really clear because
they're clear. Okay,
yeah, they're real clear because Al Berry was a pro and he came up there to debunk the whole damn thing. And
okay, yeah, send that to me so I can remember. I want to look it up for sure.
Yeah, Jeff, could you just play? I mean, just look up the Sierra sounds and maybe play just a quick sample for Mark. And I've got Ron Moorhead and another gentleman named Stan who are coming on, I think it's in December. Yeah, it's coming up, maybe even like not next week, but the week after they're coming on.
Sure.
And we're going to discuss the Sierra sounds. But Ron is still around. He's in his 80s now.
There's nothing wrong with that. I worked with a guy from he was working with the panoramic cameras back in the 90s, and he was like in his 90s or something. He was still doing it. It was great. Yeah. Lots of wisdom, lots of experience. So yeah, I was asking him all kinds of questions.
Yeah, but it's his recordings have stood the test of time as far as not being fabricated by people. I personally raised $10,000 to have his sounds analyzed by a bioacoustician in Texas A&M, and he just tore those things apart. He said, "Wow!" And he even came back. There's no way Ron would have ever known this in the 70s. He said he could measure the vocal cord length,
right,
on these things, and he said this is like an 800-pound animal that was making some of these sounds.
Cool.
He said, how would he know that back in the, what I mean? That technology didn't exist back in the 70s.
Yeah. Talking about the 70s, man. You see my wonderful Kiss Destroyer album up there?
No,
cool.
Is that
it's all signed by all four members.
All right.
On both the album and the cover there.
That's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Here, I found it. I listened to just a little bit of it.
Yeah, I don't want to play much, but
this is
cool picture though.
Are you ready?
Yeah, just play a little bit.
Oh yeah, I have heard these. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking more of the talking, Jeff, not these whoops.
Oh,
The oh, there's way better recordings than these. It's got to jump forward, Jeff, to try to find some. That's Ron. Yeah. I don't know where the hell you got this from.
yeah, that's all I could find real quick.
No, I mean, can you fast? No. Keep it up, Jeff.
Okay.
Just try to go forward more. So we can hear what's up there.
We know where we left the tracks and all that for sure.
Okay, do this, Jeff. Look for the samurai stuff. It's called samurai chatter. That's the stuff that's really nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many hours of recordings, and so some.
But I do remember that sound because I've seen that actually even on a program. They were actually
oh god, yeah.
They were discussing this particular case, these recordings.
But some of them are just really amazing because they're so clear and they're so crazy.
Yeah.
Because they were close to a microphone, apparently. Anyhow, what time we got? We should probably wrap up here. Anybody have any last questions they want to throw at Mark before we?
One good question is Brandon asked, Mark, what's your opinion on the 3-eye atlas?
Oh yeah, right.
Oh yeah. So that was that one there was. So that one came in at a specific way. Like I think what the case was that the planets are moving in one rotation, and that's actually moving in the opposite rotation. And a lot of people think it might be an alien craft and all that kind of stuff. I think that it behaves differently because of the way the direction it was going toward the sun, where the tail would have been. It also has a different composition, if I remember correctly, on this particular object versus a lot of the others. So it behaves a lot differently. Plus, it has the propensity to have more heat because of the way that it's put together as far as what it's made up of. So it can get really hot. It's got a fiery perspective to the gas compounds. So it's going to be a bit different. So I think that throws people off to think that it might be an alien craft. I just think it's just an object coming into us.
It seems to me that all the weirdness can be explained by just having a really unusual composition and an unusual trajectory.
Exactly. Even the nickel's different. A lot of it's different, even on the basis of the gases. And some of them can be masked, like the carbons can be masked in the way that where the atoms are set up to where it makes it actually flammable. So I think a lot of those things, because it's so different, that usually causes people to be to go into the speculatory space because of that, which is okay. That just means that the human mind is moving in a way that's adventurous. But I think I agree with you. I think it's just because of the composition.
Yeah, it's fascinating, but I haven't seen anything that's truly unexplainable. Would you agree with that? I mean,
absolutely. And I think there's three specific objects, and that's why it's three. But I think interstellar, particular one. But I think that's but it stands out even out from the last one. I can't remember the name of the last one. It had some name that was almost Hawaiian sounding, Moa something, I think. But but it's even different than that one. But that's probably the closest one.
That was Mua.
Mua, thank you.
Mua.
It sounded very Hawaiian, like I said. So, but it's I think it's just the composition and the way it's set up that it makes people think that it's and the direction it's going and all those kind of things.
So it's
how it's facing the sun versus the rest. So yeah.
So it doesn't have 3,000 draconian warriors inside.
I think if there were 3,000 Draconian warriors inside of one of those, they would have come a long time ago.
I just found that. So it's the third confirmed interstellar object.
Yes.
That's why they call it 3.
And it's Atlas because the Atlas scope saw it.
Yeah. One eye was the Oumuamua or Oumuamua. And 2 eye was called Borisov.
Yeah. So Past the poi.
the name, the name isn't as evocative as it kind of appears. It doesn't. It just, it's a third interstellar object. That's it.
Thank you. I am Verax. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Just we call him Virax.
Okay. So it says, Mark,
thank you.
Yeah, you bring an incredible amount of energy and clarity to everything you work on. What do you credit for staying so youthful, grounded, and sharp? Is the mindset, lifestyle, or something else entirely?
I think it's a mixture of things. I try to stay positive about everything, even in the worst times. I try to find the best in people, even though sometimes in this society it's kind of rough. I go work out. I continue to do my music, even though I have, the other things I do during the day. I keep busy. I should get my PhD by this spring. I only have 1 credit hour and to write my dissertation next semester and defend it. And I should be, as my Grammy friend wants to call me Dr. Rock, because he was hoping I would have the PhD this semester because I'm going to the Grammys at the end of January, and he was wanting to call me Dr. Rock at the Grammys, but he's going to have to wait to the spring for that to happen. So, but I think it's a mixture of all of that. I really try to find the positives in life, and I guess the rest is just, I like to be a kid sometimes. You don't. There's a lot of people when we're growing up, especially the Generation X and even some of the boomers, is that they would just, you're such a dreamer. You're such a dreamer. Act your age, act your age, act your age. And I was always the ones like, no, I'm having fun. I don't give a crap. As long as it's not hurting you or anybody else, if I want to do this, I'm going to do it. And so that's, there's a time and a place for everything, but that's what I try to do. Yeah.
And then Kim Christensen says, with your musical background, do you have any recommendations on portable recording equipment for super high and low frequency with some degree of clarity?
Okay, so for high and low frequency, you mean for like collecting evidence, or?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
I don't know the exact brands, so I really, but I think that you should go with the stuff that is not so complex, because the more complex it gets, the more compression, the more filtering, the more of that stuff you have. Mm-hmm. Just go with something that is just quality, but old school, because I think then what it comes down to is it's going to be the analysis software that really does the work. You want to get something nice and clear, and then be able to go and analyze that later. Yeah.
And people should use the uncompressed audio. They should
exactly,
wave format.
Yeah. One of the people that used to work for me at the company I had actually was on the team that invented the MP3 and the MP4s. So yeah, you don't want all that compression. You want that. Right. You want.
There's a couple of things, Mark, too. Kai, who brings up a really good point that I should get you. We've been investigating this strange hum that lots of people have recorded. He's recorded it. People all over the country have recorded this strange hum in association with Bigfoot. It's a really low frequency, and it like almost overwhelms the microphones.
Okay, so it's not. It's like
a really.
It's low, but it's not infrasound, because that would just be a clicking. That would just be a clicking on your regular
right.
voice.
It's not, and it's true. Something can be in both ranges, correct, Mark?
Well, if it's second order of something, well, that wouldn't be second order, because second order is going to be further in the spectrum. This is going back. So that's I'm not sure. I have to think about that a little bit. I'll try and get an answer back to you on that. But that hum could be a lot of things. I mean, even the earth creates specific sounds.
Yeah, well, this hum is quite loud. I mean, it's like, whoa. It just
okay. All right.
It overpowers the mics, but it's happening all over the country. It's not just.
What's the frequency? Does anybody have the direct frequency of it?
Oh God, you catch me off guard. But it's like
you were catching me off guard. It's your damn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, about 40 all the way down to infrasound range.
Okay, I'll look into it. See, Yeah.
But we'll get you some recordings. But these have been recorded all over. See, once we started, it was Tristan. That was his recording. I heard it. I went, that's something weird. And then all of a sudden, we found this article from like the early, like late 1800s or whatever, of a woman who was washing clothes at a river. She hears a hum and she expects to see a hummingbird and sees a Bigfoot, right? So we thought, maybe there is something to this. Then we put it out there on the podcast, and all these people started going, I heard that, blah, blah, blah. We heard that. And they started sending us these recordings.
Well, maybe it's their ability to actually communicate in that frequency. I mean, you have a bunch of creatures that communicate in different frequencies, even some in infrasound. So, possible. But yeah, I'd like to hear those if you.
Yeah, we'll get you some. I recorded hours of it too. Yeah. Literally hours of it.
Okay.
My last expedition.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So, where can they go to your website, Mark?
That's markallenlanoue.com. That's just like my name spelled there on the screen, but all together. And there's everything there. I created a moniker called the Gemini Mind. And the reason why is because of exactly what we're talking about. I was doing music. I had 3 different bands. I was doing projects. I was doing collaborations. I was doing research, PhD, my book, blah, blah, blah. So I just wanted to put it all in one spot. And so that's where everybody can go. They've got menu up there with all the pages. They can go to podcasts. They can go to book. They can go to paranormal. They can go to all of these. And the podcast is going to be really cool because I have a mixture of different guests on there. I have the Queen of Martial Arts, Cynthia Rothrock. I've got Bumblefoot from Guns N' Roses. I've got psychics. I got Chris Fleming from Haunted Scotland and Haunted Ireland. I've got all these different people on there. So it'll be interesting. And I'm going to have you on there, so make it even more interesting.
Hell yeah. See? This is going to be a good podcast anyhow. Well, thanks, Mark. People are saying, wow, you really knocked it out of the park. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. And they want you to have a really good time at the Grammys.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to call all of my followers are going to be called the Mind Travelers. I wanted to have a really cool name for them when they came over and started.
That's better than ours, Untoldians.
Yeah,
Untoldians. It sounds like another race.
It is. All right, just stand by, Mark. We're going to go to our little wisdom of the week thing, and then we'll come back to say goodbye. Just stand by.
Hang tight, everyone. We'll be right back.
It's now time for Untold Radio AM Wisdom of the Week. Try this. Spend 7 days speaking and thinking nothing negative because your mind follows the direction of your words, and replace every doubt with a stronger thought. And you'll see your confidence, mood, and opportunities shift almost instantly just from choosing to think like the person you want to become. Good night. We hope to see you all next week. If you like the show tonight, please consider giving us a thumbs up, leaving a nice comment, and most of all, subscribing and hitting the bell so you will be notified when a new episode is dropping. Also, please share this episode. Now back to Doug and Jeff for our wrap.
Are you guys actually going to wrap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Thank you so much, Mark. You can get his book. Where can they find your book, Mark?
Well, they can see the links at that same website, but it's also available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon online, so they can get it there. And like I always say on the podcast, hey, first of all, thanks, guys, for having me on. And to the rest of them all out there, you all rock, indeed.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and thanks for everybody in chat and all our moderators and all of the great activity. We really appreciate it. And we will be back next week with another great guest.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
I call you up in the middle of the night, been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will